Started.
All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Spoken, or I should say the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 250 is now in full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be with you and for you to be here with us, whether you are live streaming, whether you're podcasting, whether you are YouTube. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time as we have an epic show for you guys today, man. We are so excited to be here. Just on a personal level, Trevor and I, reaching 250 episodes with this show is something we're very proud of. Something we take very seriously to our cores, man, because this is something we put a lot of our effort into every single week. Not even when we're just on the show, but prepping and getting the word out, talking with you guys through social media, talking to you guys through all different avenues, whether it's on this show or any other form of social media. We are just blessed and happy to be here with you guys today and for you guys to be hanging out with us for the 250th episode. We know that the majority of podcasts and shows like ours here usually only lasts about 6-7 episodes, and then people just kind of tend to get disinterested because it doesn't turn into what they want instantaneously. Well, we're weirdos here, man. We like to keep the ball rolling no matter what has happened to us. We were doing shows when COVID was around. There was no sports at all, and we were just having a blast just talking with you guys, getting to know you guys, and there were so many people that in that time of just lockdown where we just felt like that was a time where we could really capitalize on building the community, and that's exactly what happened. And so while a lot of things took a turn for the worse during that time, I think it took a turn for the best for us here. At least we choose to see it that way. And so we're here now doing what we're doing, and we're so excited to do that, to continue to go this route with you guys, and to have you guys join us every single week and discuss sports, because I know that is an outlet for a lot of us, and some of us is even deeper than that. It becomes an obsession, and that's okay as well. Whatever it is to you, we're so glad that we get to share that experience with you guys, and we're so happy to reach this milestone. But this is just a tip of the iceberg, if you will, man, because we got a long way to go, and we have a lot of goals we want to reach outside of just this one. But we're very proud of them. We're very proud of you're here today to break down some things, because we didn't have the fortune of breaking down the Chiefs and Bengals game. We're going to get to that in just a second. And we're going to get you guys as well speaking. Not already done it, I'd say at the top, I'd say at the bottom of every single episode. Go to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, hit like, hit notify, but most importantly, get in the comments, because we have a segment later on in the show called Speak It, where we give you guys the platform, the opportunity to tell us, to speak to us, whatever you guys want to talk about, whatever questions, takes, comments, or concerns you guys have, lay it on us. We will relay it. We'll post it on our show, on our live stream, and you will be a part of the show, literally. And so we hope that you guys will join us, whether you're a regular, whether you're somebody who hasn't been around a long time, or this is your very first episode with us. Come on, hang out, man. Have a blast with us. That's all we're here to do, guys. We're not here to talk about pop culture. We're not here to talk about anything else other than sports, because that is what we're here to do today. We're also very fortunate, very lucky, very excited to have our guy, our brother, our guy from Chief Concerns podcast, Mr. Marcus Dash. He is the one half of the show with former Chief Jason Dunn, is one of the best, if not the best, Chiefs community, Chiefs related podcast out there. They do incredible work. They have incredible guests. And they're just, I don't enjoy watching a show more than theirs, because they have a very unique style and blend of what they have going, where Marcus comes from the reporter world, where he's been a fan, but also a guy that's worked professionally in the reporter world. And then you have JD, Jason Dunn, who has actually played this game and had played it at a high level and had a lot of success in this league, played for over a decade in the NFL, he gives you that unique perspective as a player because I'll be honest, and Trevor, I think you would agree with me on this one. There are a few players out there that, I'll be real. I don't feel like sometimes I need to hear. I don't think they really care. I think they played the game well. They had a physical ability, but they don't really like to talk or articulate the game very well. JD is one of those few that when you hear him talk, you know this guy knows what he's talking about, and he's still passionate about the game as if he was still playing the game. So that is definitely why we love having both those guys on, and today we have Marcus Dash. Really excited about that. I hope you guys are ready as well because I know Marcus has a lot of takes, a lot of thoughts on this team moving forward because, guys, we are moving in to the postseason week. This is week 18. This is for all the marbles, for all the marbles, for a lot of teams coming up against the Chargers. Doesn't really matter as much. Trevor and I are going to still break that game down for you guys and give you some key thoughts on what we're looking for in this game because I think there's still an opportunity for the Chiefs to capitalize on a game that may not matter, but it could matter in a sense when it comes to certain key positions that they can work on and get some practice rounds for some of these guys. We'll definitely be breaking all that down, and obviously you guys know we hold L's every single week for the 250th time. We're going to be handing out L's like we do every single show, and I hope you guys are ready for that. Like I said, jam-packed show. Felt like that was a mouthful for me to just get out, just to get this thing started. Trevor, how you doing this morning? I heard that you're breaking free of the sickness you've been battling for what seems to be since last year. Am I right?
Doing pretty good. I will say right now the chat is telling me there's an echo, so I'm trying to see if we can figure that out for you guys. I'm not sure why that's doing that. Hopefully it figures itself out, but I'm gonna keep kind of messing with it a little bit and see if there's anything that we can do to fix that for you. There's a little bit of reverb as far as what the chat's saying, so a little bit of a double echo.
Awesome.
Brian just said right there is good, so hopefully just keep me posted, guys. I can't really hear it right now.
This is the beauty of the live stream.
We can only hear ourselves talking, so you guys hear it on the output side, so it's hard for us to hear that, but I'm doing good, man. I'm, coming off a victory week for the Chiefs, and holidays are over. Kind of de-stress a little bit. Try to, get my normal routine back in order with the kids, and everything's been, the holidays have been kind of hectic. So other than that, man, good, man. Looking forward to, to watch our bench players play in this Chiefs game coming up. These games are always kind of fun for me too. So I always kind of like to see our backup, see what kind of depth guys we got. See, I know we're going to talk about it, but see guys like Felix and Leo Chenal get a lot more full game reps. Look forward to that stuff. But overall, man, I'm good. Ready to have a good show today, man.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better because, like I said, we have a show that we need to really, really get to and break down. Are we good now? All right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate that. This is why I thank you guys because Trevor and I could be doing a podcast right now and have no idea.
I think I just needed to start speaking. I think that's what happened. I needed to bless this show with my voice.
The machine's like, Lance, let's give it a rest, bro. We had all of 2023 where you could talk. 2024 is a year where Trevor starts to dominate the conversation. I'm okay with it. Either way, no matter what we got to do, man, we're just having fun here. And it doesn't matter who goes to the damn show. I'm just glad that the damn reverb is gone. But, something I want to start with here, Trev, is because I said we have to break down what we saw from that Chiefs-Bengals game.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to do it with Book this week. Obviously, a new year. By the way, Happy New Year to everybody that I've not already said it to. I hope you guys had a safe, great holiday season. Trevor and I had a good one. It was kind of a blur because we had a lot of sick family, and so it just kind of felt like we were just taking care of ourselves.
I was sick myself, man.
Yeah, kind of hobbling into 2024, but we're here now. We're healthy. We're ready to go. So I hope that's the same for you guys. Everybody's doing good. But, I said on our last episode here, on episode 249, that I needed the Chiefs to show me that they could still win games that matter. Because we have been seeing this team really hobble in games that they shouldn't be losing in. They shouldn't be struggling the way they are against opponents that have no business being in games like the Raiders, where they complete 0 passes for the final 3 quarters of the game and still find a way to beat the Chiefs by a whole touchdown. That's insane. Those are things that, for me, when it's getting to this portion of the season, you start to really figure out who you are. And most teams that are Super Bowl worthy start to really click after November. Usually right into the early parts of December is when you start to see things really start to take shape. And even players and coaches admit that. That's when you want to start seeing it take shape. And that's not been the case for the Chiefs. If I'm not mistaken, before this Bengals game, they were 3-5 in the last 8 games. And It wasn't that they were getting blown out. It wasn't that they were just outmatched. Like I've told Trevor and I've told you guys several times on the show, the only game that I can definitively say the Chiefs just got beat was the Packers game. Yeah. And even in that game, there were opportunities at the end of it where the Chiefs could have still found a way to win the game, but there was some bad officiating that we now have seen has been plaguing the entire league, and in particular, it's one damn crew and Brad Allen's, who ironically is now getting the Pittsburgh Ravens game, so I just figured that one out. But the point is the Chiefs beat themselves. And this is the most frustrating part about this. I tweeted yesterday that here's the one reason why the Bills are still in the postseason run, and it was Kadarius Toney lining up off sides. Yeah. Those are things that the Chiefs have continuously done all season, and it's really made me wonder if this team is really eligible to get to a Super Bowl, let alone win one. I told you guys after the Bills lost that I don't think this team right now is a Super Bowl winner. And as crazy as it sounds, I still don't, just because I don't believe that they have the capabilities of winning a Super Bowl, doesn't mean they still can't go and do it. Because I can be wrong. This team could get hot. This team could do the right things. Things could fall in the right places. If we know anything about the AFC, the playoff picture is really chaotic right now, guys, to the point where the Ravens are the top dog, and the Ravens are one of the most unproven teams in the playoffs over the last 6-7 years. So there are a lot of openings for the Chiefs to still find a way to make it work. And this Bengals game, for me, was the biggest way for them to show me that they could get it done. And I'll be honest with you guys, when the game first kicked off and the way things were 17-7, it was the way that the first offensive stand for the Chiefs, the first defensive stand for the Chiefs, even though they held the Bengals to a field goal, it felt like, oh shit, Jake Browning's going to do whatever he wants against this defense.
Right.
And this is when we knew that L'Jarius Sneed was already shutting down Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase had 3 catches for 41 yards in this game. And we saw the fights, and we saw the skirmishes on the sidelines, and I'm thinking, this is really going to happen, isn't it? My worst fear is going to happen. And for the record, this is the first time all season I had picked the Chiefs to lose. I had picked the Chiefs to win every game previous to this matchup, and I said I need them to show me they can do it. And the way things started really concerned me, guys, because I felt like the energy was so low. I felt like Spags was kind of doing a feel-out game with some of the defensive schemes he was putting out there early, and the offense looked just as lost as it ever has. And we're seeing more of the same, Trevor. MVS dropping passes and blaming Patrick Mahomes for some damn reason. We're seeing a lack of execution on the offensive side. Going into that second half, guys, I was really at peace with you know what? Chiefs are going to lose this game, and the chips are just going to have to fall where they fall. I have no idea where things are going to go for them in the playoffs. I have no idea. It was really worrying me. I'll be honest with you. Trevor and I were very quiet, very sullen about it. We didn't really know how to feel other than just how we felt every single game over the last 2 months. And then something happened. And, I need to specify on this, Trevor, because it's something that we need to not take lightly going into the playoffs, because I think it's the one really redeemable trait for the Chiefs. And it's that Steve Spagnuolo and this defense, Steve Spagnuolo got in his bag. And for the 4th consecutive game, shut down the opposing offense. The Bengals had 17 first-half points. Trevor, real quick, how many points did the Bengals score in the second half?
That'd be 0.
0 points. So much, Sean. If you could show the stat, Trevor, about the second halves. I don't know if you have it or not. Maybe you don't. But the Chiefs' defense, and I don't think I put it on there. Okay. But the Chiefs' defense has allowed 16 points total in the second half since Week 14. Think about that.
That's insane, bro.
4 points per second half since Week 14. It's a little over a field goal. That is saving the Chiefs. That is keeping them where they are now at, which is the 3 seed, and they can't move up or down. Just to take away any confusion, guys. Chiefs cannot move up or down today or this weekend. They are solidified at the 3. But that is the biggest reason why. And yes, the defense has to play like they did in that second half from here on out if the Chiefs plan on doing anything in the postseason. Anything. Because although, yes, it's chaotic in the AFC, said Trevor, we know the playoffs, anything can happen. Things can be right, things can get wrong real quick. But we know one consistent thing when it comes to this team is the defense is going to have to be on their P's and Q's if they're because this offense struggles to get to 20. And I don't know if you guys know the stat, but if the Chiefs score 21 points in a game this season, they're undefeated. Because we know this defense is going to keep things where they're at. Now, this is why. This is why, and I want to show this. This is why, and I want to show this as well because in the second half we saw pass rush. It was L'Jarius Sneed was the story because he shut down. But it was the pass rush. But it was the pass rush that made the game what it was. That made the game what it was. There was a point in the fourth quarter where they sacked Jake Browning three times in 4 plays. Now that George Karlaftis has 10.5 sacks, which leads the team and is going to probably end up leading the team. I don't think Chris Jones is going to play in this game. He's one sack behind. If you could show that stat that I have of George. So this is a stat that I put out there guys this week. In 30 regular season games, George Karlaftis had 16.5 sacks. Tom Bahali had 15.5. Now you might not think that's a big deal. I do personally, because I believe that George Karlaftis is showing us that this man is a real figure for this defense moving forward. Do I think he's ever going to become a TJ Watt or a Myles Garrett or somebody of that nature? No, I don't. I've always viewed him, since they drafted him, I started watching film, I viewed him, Trevor, as more like a Ryan Kerrigan. A guy that's going to get 8 to 12 sacks a season. Never going to have that blowout 17, 20 sack season, but he's always going to be consistent, give you around 10 sacks on average a season. And that is a guy you want to have on your defense. He's a guy that stays healthy. He's a guy that's just constantly effective and is constantly fighting. He doesn't give up on plays. George Karlaftis is showing us, guys, that he is the real deal, and he's been a large part of this defense. So I'm going to give all the praise, Trevor, in this recap to what the defense did. They didn't look good out the gate. Nick Bolton at times kind of had minimum effort. I feel like they looked a little lost sometimes in the passing schemes. But I think overall the defense, when it mattered the most, they put the clamps down and they did their job to the best of their abilities. And I will say this, Trevor, when it comes to the offense. I will say this about the offense. The Chiefs scored one freaking offensive touchdown.
Right.
That's a problem.
It was early on.
That's a real problem. And this was a game, like I said, the Chiefs absolutely had to have. So them only scoring one touchdown is a concern. I love the fact that the red zone, they were consistently in the red zone, which means they were moving the ball. But one touchdown in the game against a desperate Bengals team, and yet they still win by 8. Which tells me that this Chiefs team, even when they don't play at their best, if their defense is doing what they're doing and they're getting in the red zone, you know that you can trust Harrison Butker, and you know that you're going to be given opportunities time after time after time of scoring touchdowns. They got to start punching them in. But my final point in all this, Trevor, is you remember a comparison I made with Rashee Rice when I talked about what I think he's going to become and what he's going to be in this offense moving forward? If you could, Trevor, just go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage for me as far as what we saw in this game and what comparison we had.
Gotcha.
2nd down and 7. Mahomes. Watkins. What a throw. Sammy Watkins out of bounds near the 11. Damian Williams, he comes over. He picks up the blitz by K'Wan Williams, and it's one-on-one then against Richard Sherman with Sammy Watkins, and Richard Sherman one-on-one is just not going to run with him. They've had those chances at other times tonight. They just have not.
About being down inside that 10 for a quarterback, that's dicey holding that ball. Good poise.
1st and 10. Down the sideline, he's got a man open. Rice off to the races, and Rice is brought down at the 10-yard line.
In the NFL, and run after catch, only behind Tyreek Hill, it's Mr. Rice.
You know what that was?
Look at that. Ooh, look at that. What an idiot. Would you look at this? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at this.
I'd have to drill it out. I've tried getting under here.
Oh, would you look at that? You got under? Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Get from behind
look at that.
You can't do it.
Oh, look at this. Look at that.
Yeah,
look at this.
And if you tell that to the cops, they're not going to give you any consideration.
Oh, look at that. You got to look at it this way, okay? You just got to look at it. That's all you can do anymore.
Yeah, I looked at it as right.
Would you look at it, Trevor? Would you just look at it? Just look at it. I always tell people when things get bad, just look at it. Because I think that Rashee Rice is showing us that he is what we were hoping to have for long-term from Sammy Watkins. And that is a great thing, guys. The biggest play of the season happens to come in the biggest moment of the season because the Chiefs needed this game, absolutely needed this game. A 67-yard play from the rice paddy connection, as I like to call it, and look at it. I think that this is now a slow developing process between Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice because it took, 6, 7, 8 weeks for Rashee to start becoming an actual piece to this offense. Even of late, man, I think it was like week 12. He only got like 2, 3 targets. And we're sitting there going, this is ridiculous. This kid is clearly good enough to be a pivotal part, an integral part of this offense. Get him involved. And ever since about week 14 on, man, he has been absolutely getting just targeted to him left and right. And I think that's what we saw in this matchup is that if you're going to look for big plays moving forward, Rashee Rice has to be the first guy you're looking at. Travis Kelce is always going to get the underneath stuff. He's always going to be the guy that I think Patrick trusts the most. But if you're looking for the top stuff, when they're playing single high safety stuff like the Bengals started to do once the Chiefs started running the ball in this game, because if you saw the way Lou Anarumo was dialing things up, he played that same style of defense that he had been playing against the Chiefs last couple of years. Against the Chiefs the last couple of years. That drop 8 in the box is real light. That's why Pacheco was able to get a lot of these big running plays. There wasn't a lot there. There wasn't a lot there. And so once Pacheco started getting the respect of the Bengals defense, they started dialing up stuff that brought more underneath. That's when Rashee saw that single high safety. And I don't have the video. I really wish I put it on here, Trevor. But Rashee Rice after the game broke down the play perfectly. He's sitting here talking about how he saw the safety sitting in a perfect spot of the offense or the field.
Like
knew that he had
LeBron type memory stuff. Yeah.
And I'm sitting here when I'm watching this, Trevor. You know, my first reaction was I felt like Jennifer Love Hewitt, and what's it called? Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? I want to say Andy Reid so damn bad. What are you waiting for, man? Look, we're going to break down what we want to see in this coming up game against the Chargers. We're going to break down what we're going to talk about in the playoffs and what the Chiefs need to do offensively to better their chances. But here's what needs to be done, Trevor. I'm just going to give the blueprint right now, and then we're going to get to your recap. I apologize. I'm taking up all the time here. And if we're having sound problems, we apologize, guys. But where are we at right now on that, Trevor? Are we looking good?
I think we're all right now, man.
All right, we're good. Okay, we're going to keep the ball rolling then, guys.
Keep me posted, guys.
All right, yeah, let us know how things are going. But this is the best. This is the blueprint for me, Trevor. And actually, ironically, I heard Garrett Dieter on 810 this week say the same thing. I was already going to have it for the show. I have it in my notes. And then I heard him literally echo my sentiments. It was awesome to hear. Because then I sounded like I was less of an idiot. But Garrett Dieter and I both feel this way, Trevor. Take away MVS's snaps completely. If the Chiefs are serious about contending in the playoffs, take away MVS's snaps completely. He serves zero purpose on this offense. And now, like you've been saying for weeks, giving Rashee Rice those types of snaps, that needs to happen. But see, here's the beautiful thing about it. Justin Watson, that everybody thinks is this guy that the Chiefs can rely on deep down the field, who has been an effective piece. How about you play him in the MVS role, right? He takes all those deep routes, all those stretching the field. Justin Watson runs those routes. At least you know he can catch the damn ball.
Sure.
You have Rashee Rice running those Sammy Watkins X plays, where he can do those scrapes, 10 to 15 yards, get those big chunk plays he's able to do it with his feet. And then you have Travis Kelce, and now the dual threat ability outside of the backfield of Isaiah Pacheco. Now you're seeing the underneath stuff start to work for him and Travis Kelce. Because why? You have guys that are breaking man defense and pushing the defense down the field, and everything underneath starts to come open. That's the best. I think that's the best way they go about this now, Trevor. They got to quit putting MVS out there. He is not helping this team. He's only hurting this team. I'll be honest with you. The Chiefs have played some really good cornerbacks this year. MVS has been one of the best cornerbacks the Chiefs have faced this year because that guy has been able to stop this defense on a dime. He has shut them down sometimes, dude. He's completely locked down this offense. So I'll give him that credit. But as far as a wide receiver goes, he is useless. So take him out of the role. If the Chiefs are trying to win a Super Bowl here, take him out of that role. Bench his ass. MVS. Go sit him down. And have Justin Watson take that role, Rashee Rice on the other side, and like I said, the underneath stuff with Travis Kelce, and then you have Isaiah Pacheco, who is able to catch the ball and run routes crisp. You saw in the red zone, the one touchdown was that beautiful play that Andy Reid drew up. Those schemes are there. You just got to have the right guys out there who can run them right and catch the ball correctly. That's my thoughts. So, Trev, I want to get your take on this game. What did you see from this Bengals-Chiefs game? Do you feel better about them moving forward, or are you still a little concerned about them?
I'm definitely still concerned about this offense. We moved the ball fairly well in this game, but that's a bad defense. That's been Bengals defense has been bad all year. You know what I mean? So we tend to find ways to move the ball against. I mean, we moved the ball pretty much good all year. So I'm not sure why that should be a surprise, but it's still finishing in the red zone issue for us. And that was a great play drawn up for Pacheco to score there. I love that play. But that was it, man. No, we settled for field goals the rest of the game.
Yep.
And shout out to the special teams player of the week and Harrison Bucker. The dude was nails the entire game, especially coming off a recent miss, the first miss of the season, a field goal. So it's good to see him, have a game like that. A guy that we know we still can put all of our trust in and win a game for us if our defense just does their thing. But it's not fun winning that way. It's not how you win this league anymore. It's very tough to win that way, and our defense did their job at a high level in this game, and made brought Jake Browning down to earth a little bit. I know he's coming off a rough performance. That's why I expect him to ball out this week. But he had a so-so performance. He had that nice rushing touchdown, which was a really bad whiff by Willie Gay. Willie Gay's got to make that tackle.
Yep.
On that, that's a touchdown. It's up to you whether that's a touchdown or not, and he allowed that. So, and you can see it on the sidelines when him and Chris Jones and him and other guys on the sidelines were getting into it about that play, about that missed tackle. That can't happen. He's a big time player, and we expect big time plays, and we didn't get it there. So, but yeah, man. Overall, the offense was moving the ball well. Rashee Rice, more explosive plays every week. The league's leader in yak, Rashee Rice. Over time. We've had some guys banged up like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase this year, so those guys might be higher on the list if they weren't banged up. But still, rookie. We had questions. He had a slow start this year, getting acclimated in this offense, and now this dude is statistically the most explosive player with the ball in his hands after the catch. That's incredible.
Yep.
So I'm super happy about that. I'm super happy what the future holds for this kid, what he can be, and we all know Andy Reid loves yak. He loves to create space, get guys in space, and let them create after the catch. And this guy looks to be like a solid, another great pick for Brett Veach and Andy Reid. So I'm loving that. I'm loving what I'm seeing on him. I'm loving what he could possibly evolve into the postseason. Could he be that guy that sparks and that gives a spark to this offense? Obviously he has been, but can he take that further?
Yeah.
Would love to see that. But not much else from everyone else. I mean, other than Pacheco and Rashee. Really wanted to see the tight ends get more involved. That wasn't really the thing. It wasn't really the case. Patrick looked pretty good. He looked sharp. He looked like he was getting the ball out quicker and looked like he was more decisive.
Yep.
Less second guessing himself. I think the most talked about point in this game was MVS looking like appearing as trying to correct Patrick Mahomes. We're going to place the ball. That was one of the most craziest things. Like even Nick Wright on Twitter was saying that's a benchable offense. I 100% agree. I do not understand how someone can have the audacity, especially a guy who's never taken accountability this whole season.
Thank you
for leading this team in drops and having great could have had big moments this year, but continues to drop the big moments and fumble the big moments. I don't understand how this guy has not taken accountability for any of it. Everyone else is. You got Justin Watson, stepping up and doing interviews and taking accountability for the wide receiver room. When this guy is like making pennies in comparison to what MVS is making, and he's not showing any leadership, and he's out there bitching about where the ball was placed when hitching in both of your goddamn hands. I don't understand it. I cannot wait till this guy is gone, and that's really rough to say because we got playoff games to play here. So hopefully he can just pull his head out of his ass. I hope he plays the entire game tomorrow, to finally maybe get some rhythm, get some catches, get some going. I mean, I hope he does. I really hope they keep him on the field this game this Sunday, and I know we'll get to that. But
yeah, overall,
man, this game was it was so for me. Like it was enjoyable because we won, and it was enjoyable because our offense looked pretty smooth. No turnover, or no real like negative plays. Did we punt? I think we might have punted. Did we even punt at all? I don't think we punted at all.
I'm pretty sure they punted on the first drive, wasn't it?
I don't remember. Maybe we did.
Yeah.
But overall, it was we were in the red zone the majority of the time. We were within scoring distance the entire game, every possession. The Bengals did control the ball pretty well, especially in that first half. So I mean, overall, I think we looked good in the second half. We
one
came
punt.
out. One punt. I'll take that, man. Especially coming off the last few games that we've had, we've been punting like crazy. And turning it over like crazy. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I think you take this performance and you grow from it. A team that knows us, a coach that knows us, a defensive coordinator that knows us really well. So we had a lot of reasons to lose this game. A team that had everything to play for, You know what I mean? With Jamar Chase and T. Higgins out there, regardless if they were banged up, both those guys were out there, so there's no excuses. That team was ready to go. You know, and we took care of business, and that was good to see. It was good to see us win a game that we know we needed to win against a team that had to win. You know, that's a situation that you want to see out of your team going into the postseason. And now we have as shitty as this season's been. Now we have an opportunity going into the final week of the season where we can rest everybody again, and we have the division wrapped up.
And that's,
you know what I mean? That's
actually
a good thing.
That's actually where I want to segue real quick, not to interrupt you. I'm going to get additional thoughts because we have Marcus, our guy Marcus Dash will be here probably about 25 minutes or so. No rush. I do want to add this to the equation because you remember growing up. Chiefs won the AFC West. It was like Christmas Day. That was like a humongous accomplishment. Before Andy Reid got here, you do know, Trevor, the Chiefs had the fewest AFC titles, AFC West titles in the AFC West.
Yep.
Now
we have the most.
They have the most with 16. The Chiefs have now have won their eighth straight AFC West title with Andy Reid at the helm. And I don't want to shorten that accomplishment. I don't want to lessen it, diminish it, anything like that, because AFC West titles have become such an afterthought in KC now that the Chiefs have this Super Bowl standard. But like I said, to really think about that, 8 years ago, they had the least. Now they have the most. That doesn't just happen. I mean, it really isn't saying what Andy Reid's been able to accomplish. Yes, I've been critical of him about a few things. Holding on to Alex Smith holding on to Bob Sutton way too long.
Well, what he's doing has never been done.
It's never been done.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at this. Okay, everybody talks about Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of all time.
He walked to a good position.
Okay, here's the thing. Yes, Bill Belichick has had a losing season in 3 of his last 4 seasons, right? Andy Reid, in 25 years as a head coach, 23 years as a head coach, 2 losing seasons total.
Right.
Like, think about that, man. Like, one guy had Tom Brady for 20 years. One guy had a good, Donovan McNabb here and there, some guys here and there. And then Patrick Mahomes for this 5-6 year window now. But to think that he only has 2 losing seasons ever, I mean, I think Andy Reid's going to go down as the greatest coach that's ever lived because I think he's going to win 2-3 more Super Bowls before he retires. I really do believe that. Could they do it this year? We'll find out. I think that would be by far his greatest accomplishment because this is the most limited offense he's had at least in the last 7-8 years. So it's going to be really difficult to do. But I need to point that out. And something I want to bring up with this offense too, Trevor, before we move on to this matchup with the Chargers, is do you understand when it comes to winning this division, Patrick Mahomes will never have a wide receiver room this bad again. This will never happen again. I can almost guarantee you that. Unless there's like a string of injuries, unforeseen things. But going into a season, this is never going to happen under Brett Veach.
It can't.
It cannot. Yeah. You're seeing how difficult it is for them to win games this way. This is why, Trevor, over 75% of people that voted on my poll when I said you click a button and the Chiefs wide receiver room was never this bad again, but this defense is never as great as it is again. Over 75% of people clicked yes, they would hit the button. Of course you would. Because the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl with the 16th ranked defense, but their offense was number 1 in the NFL.
You pander to your all-time quarterback.
Yes, when you pay a guy that much money, you might as well give him as many weapons as possible. Effective weapons. That's why I said it's never going to happen again. In other words, this was the season of any season in Mahomes' era where a Broncos or a Chargers or a Raiders team squeaked out the division. Yeah. They found a way to win the division. And they didn't.
You got to surround LeBron with shooters.
You realize how long this next decade is going to be for the Broncos fans, Chargers, the Raiders fans, and that one Charger fan that had the Buffalo Wild Wings hat on? It's going to be really difficult for these people. Yeah. Because I'm telling you right now, it's only going to get better. This was, what Nick Wright said that last year was that year. Nick Wright said that last year was that year where everyone had a chance to dethrone the Chiefs.
How sick are they going to be? How sick are they going to be if both the Bengals and the Bills?
Yeah, because I don't expect the Ravens to ever be top. I don't think that this defense next year and the years after that. I think this is like that one. I think this is like that one like big time year. I do expect though that Spags, as long as he's going to have a top defense always consistently, which is all the Chiefs. Like I would sleep at night so much better if I knew the Chiefs have a top 3 offense and a top 3 defense. I know people say, well, defense win championships. Not anymore. It isn't defense that are winning championships. It's quarterbacks and the ability to score. Look at this last Super Bowl. It was a 38-35 game. I understand that Nick Bolt made a big play, But both quarterbacks were getting what they wanted.
The Super Bowl before that was a defensive one, though. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that was the Bengals got shut down by that Rams defense. You know,
I mean, they both scored in the 20s, though.
There's still going to be. I think there's still. It really comes down to matchups, though, at the end of the day. But at the same time, you want to have an offense that can put up points because if you have to do it and you can't, you're screwed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and both of those teams in the Super Bowl in that Rams and Bengals matchup, ironically, that wasn't expected to be a defensive game. Everyone was expecting to take the over, and that ended up being an under because both those offenses were really good, but just the Rams just happened to have the better defense. You know what I mean? And that's in that matchup. So that's what outshined in that matchup. But I mean, I think I do agree with you. In today's game, you got to be able to put up 30 if you have to, 35 if you have to.
Outside of the 49ers over the last the last decade, every single team that has made the Super Bowl has a really good quarterback.
Right.
Like, though, outside of the 49ers, because Kyle Shanahan's unreal, roster's unreal. Yeah. Outside of that team, I think the worst quarterback that's made the Super Bowl over the last 6-7 years, Jared Goff. And he's a really good quarterback. Right. Like, think about that. Like, more
the last 15 years, with Flacco, maybe?
Flacco, like I said, Jimmy Garoppolo, obviously.
Eli Manning.
If you guys really want to be disrespectful, say Matt Ryan, that's what I'm
saying.
He's the whole thing.
He's one of the best quarterbacks in football at that time. But
yeah, maybe we're missing a guy here and there, but I don't think, Trevor, like I said, old Tom Brady.
This is not your grandpa's NFL anymore, man.
Yeah, man. Defenses help you get to championships. I think or win you titles. And I think that's why, like I said, this was that one chance that the AFC as a whole could have really said, all right, we're going to put the Chiefs to bed early. Maybe they miss the playoffs or they have a really low seed. They make a wild card, have to go on the road in their first game. No, that's not the case. Yeah. And so now they have a real chance here to make a run, even though, Trevor, like I said, I question their Super Bowl ability to get to the Super Bowl. I still very much question it. I have my doubts, legitimate doubts.
Because of the offense.
Because of the offense. Exactly. So we move now, before we have our Marcus Dash coming in, we have the Chiefs taking on the Chargers. Trevor, you go ahead and put up the inactives real quick. The inactives in this game, and I know that they're not officially inactive, but Isaiah Pacheco, Nick Bolton, Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, and Mike Dana are questionable for Sunday's game. I'm sure we'll get an update by today or early tomorrow morning. But just looking at those names in particular, because we know Patrick Mahomes is not playing. We know that it's been confirmed that Rashee Rice, L'Jarius Sneed, Kadarius Toney, Donovan Smith, and Chris Jones will not play in this game.
Oh, Chris Jones? I didn't know that.
I'm sure they would let him play. I think they're going to try to protect him and keep him out, but I know he has that incentive. I think the Chiefs are just going to pay him. I think they're just going to pay it.
But Chris Jones wants to go earn it, though.
I know, and maybe they let him play for.
I think he plays.
Maybe they let him play for a series and try to get the sack. He's too valuable to the equation, though, man. We will trust me when I say we're going to be talking about that. Sure. Maybe this episode, if we have time, if we have go to Home Depot, get some wallpaper. I don't know if we'll have time or not. Yeah. But we got to talk about Chris Jones in a second. But there is no reason in the world why Isaiah Pacheco should play in this game.
I agree.
Zero reason. The dude's already banged up. He's already got his 1,000 yards. He's been incredible. Like, does
he have 1,000 yards?
I'm pretty sure he does.
Not rushing.
No, total yards. Oh. Yeah, he's got 1,000 total yards. And I'll look that up to verify real quick. But my point is that Pacheco has already shown that he has 935 rushing yards.
As I was saying, yeah, he wants to get 1,000 rushing yards, I believe.
930. Yeah, they're not.
I think he gets an incentive if he gets 1,000 rushing yards.
So you got 935 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns on the ground. Great season.
Yeah, man.
Receiving 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's got 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns this season. That is everything you can ask for a 7th round.
That's with missing some time. Yeah.
But anyway, I just don't think there's any reason for him to play. I do think that Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis will play in this game. I think they're going to keep in rhythm because you got to have those guys in rhythm. L'Jarius Sneed has been dealing with a calf injury. He almost didn't play this last week, but he knew he had to, and he just went out there and soldiered that shit.
He should not be out there.
Mike Dana, sure, let him try to get out there and play and see if maybe he can add to the incentive of maybe getting a big paycheck this next year. But I just don't think that they're going to play a lot of the key guys. But here's the thing about this matchup, Trevor, that I'm really intrigued by. For one, I'll just come out and say it. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I think the Chiefs are still the better team on the field. And furthermore, Trevor, the Chargers have nothing to play for in this game.
Well, the Chargers are playing their backups, but not by choice.
Well, here's the other thing. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Here's the other thing.
They've been playing.
Both teams are not playing their starters. Well, one's doing it by choice, the other one not so much. But here's the other thing. The Chargers actually benefit off of a loss because that helps them move down even further in the draft.
Draft position, yep.
Yeah, and they're going to be in cap hell next year, so they're going to need as much as they can possibly get out of this draft. And second of all, they can't play spoiler. The Chiefs don't move in the playoffs regardless. So what does it incentivize the Chargers to go in there and try to win this game? I'm not saying they're going to throw the game. I'm sure they'll go out there and they'll try. But my point is, I think if Blaine Gabbert's the best quarterback on the field in this week,
Sure.
the Chiefs still have the best head coach. The Chiefs still have the best defense. I think that if we're looking at this game just for what it is, even though the Chiefs don't need this game to win, this is a game the Chiefs can utilize to feel good going into the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
And the best way for me, Trevor, in my opinion, for the Chiefs to do that is to throw the shit out of the football. We know that Kadarius Toney's not playing this game. And I'll have a sidebar on him in a second, but MVS is probably going to play in this game. I would hope that he doesn't play in the playoffs.
I think all signs point towards him getting...
Yeah, Rashee Rice might play because he wants to go for 1,000 yards. Maybe they'll let him try to go and get a deep pass or a couple small plays.
I don't think Rashee plays.
I do believe that Travis Kelce's playing.
Yes.
I think he's going to get his 16 yards. And furthermore, the Chargers are going to let him do that.
We have to.
Because if they get the 16 yards, he's out of the game. So
right.
why would they try to fight him on that?
Go. Yeah.
Just have the yards and get done. Yeah, exactly. There's a respect thing there, too.
Sure.
But I think that the guys that are going to play in this game, like Justin Ross and Richie James and Justin Watson, I think they need to throw the ball 45-plus times.
Oh,
just have Blaine zipping and ripping
Blaine's
the ball
gonna be slinging that shit
all night long. I don't care if he throws 3-4 picks.
He will.
Just let him get these dudes' hands in rhythm.
Yeah.
Because Justin Ross is a guy that I'm still not giving up on. I'd like to see Justin Ross play a role in the playoffs.
Hell yeah.
I'd like to see Richie James get more acclimated into the offense. Obviously more with Patrick Mahomes, but they're not playing Patrick Mahomes. So have Blaine Gabbert target Justin Ross 8 times. Have him target Richie James 10 times.
Yeah.
Have him target Justin Watson 7-8 times. Just have him target the shit out of these dudes. Throw the shit out of the football, especially against this horrific defense that's already banged up. Let them go out there and just play some free football. Because you saw on the sideline, dude, against the Bengals at the end of the game, when awesome story, by the way, Willie Gay asked the PR lady to have them play swag surf, and they played it, and the whole fucking sideline was going nuts. Like, you're feeling it again. Like, this team's starting to feel, if they go into this game knowing they don't have to win, but go and get a dub against a team they've been beating every game in Los Angeles or San Diego since 2013,
yeah.
I feel like that's only going to add to it.
Yeah.
And Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and all the veteran dudes, the captains, are going to be on that sideline pumping those dudes up. Clyde's going to get some play. They're going to be pumping these guys. That Willie Gay's going to be rolling the towel in the air.
Of course.
This is to me, I don't really care if the Chiefs win the game, but I am confident they're going to win it. I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to cover the spread. I think this is all about getting that ball to roll downhill. If you're going to be a team that can legitimately win the Super Bowl, even in a meaningless game, go out there, play some football, have some fun, get your guys back to what it once was, dude, because we remember what drove this team all these years. They were unified, they were having fun. It looked not always easy, but it looked like they always were like, you know what, we're in this together. We've seen a lot of divisive teams before, and to be honest with you, this season has felt a little divisive. For whatever reason it is, we can break it all down to its core, but this is a game, and I think the Bengals game was kind of like that teetering to the line of it all. This could be that game where you see your backups and the guys that are fighting for positions on this roster going out there and winning you a game that doesn't matter to everybody else and to the seedings, but it can mean everything to this team.
Yeah.
It can mean everything to them. So for me, I'm looking at this game, Trevor, and I'm saying I just want the Chiefs to go out there, let them rip the ball around the field. Andy Reid would love that. He's going to dial up 50 pass plays and get these wide receivers in motion, get them some confidence. Because Trevor, when it comes to wide receivers, when it comes to cornerbacks, guys, island guys, if you will, their game is predicated on their confidence. We've seen guys literally just fall and never be heard about again. Jonathan Baldwin, for instance, guys like that, Phillip Gaines. Guys that start off like, oh, this guy's got promise, and then they lose their confidence. They get the yips, and they disappear.
Similar to kickers, too.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Like a golfer's swing kind of thing.
The Chiefs get Justin Ross, Richie James, Justin Watson, some of these others involved, get them some confidence, and in a week's time, the Chiefs are hosting a playoff game. You don't think those kids are going to come into that game a week later going, dude, I feel good about myself?
Well, Josh Williams and Watson, we've already seen it.
Yeah.
These guys have won a Super Bowl in the rookie year. These guys have stepped it up and already shown it. They've taken a step back this season. Obviously, they're kind of out of the rotation because better guys are starting ahead of them.
Right.
So they're taking a step back there. And they haven't looked too good, if we're being honest, when they have come in.
Right.
So like you said, this is a good spot for these guys, these younger guys, to kind of get out there and get reacclimated and keep this winning culture and this momentum alive heading into the postseason. Because I think it is a big deal. Even preseason, as much as we don't like preseason games, we don't like to start the starters in preseason games anyways. It's still fun to win preseason games and roll into the season with a winning vibe going on. You know what I mean? Like that is important. It is important for a locker room.
Yes.
It's important for the camaraderie and the discussions being had before and after games. You know, that rah-rah feeling for sports is a big thing, man. The extracurriculars, the internal feeling of winning is a good thing for teams moving forward. Whether you think this game's meaningless or not, it's meaningful to these players. It's meaningful to these players. This is their livelihood. This is their job. You know, you want to end the school year on a bang. You know, you want to have good grades in there. You want to have something. You want. No, I mean, listen, bro. We played a lot of meaningless sports, if you will, in high school. I mean, there was nothing we were really, really, truly playing for other than pride. You know, we weren't getting paid to do it. It wasn't our job, but it was still fun.
Yep.
We still wanted to win every single game. These guys have spent their lives. You don't think they feel that same way? They don't feel like kids still out there playing a game that they love. You know, so this is a game that's going to be important to these guys for sure. And I hope Blaine goes out there and slings it, man. You know what I mean? Watch MVS go out there and have a massive game, though. You know what? I hope he does, though, because as much as we hated on this guy, and for good reason, and he's due for all of it, and it's absolutely deserved. I want him to be good.
Yeah.
We need him to be good.
Right.
You know what I mean? If MVS can go out there and have a good game, catch 5, 6, 7 balls, have 100 yards and a tutty, that's only a positive for this team.
Right.
Because as much as we dislike this guy, as much as I think he's starting to be disliked in the locker room, maybe has been in the locker room, if he goes out there and has a good performance and feels good about himself, I'll take that.
Right.
I will take that. I'll take that. That good juju going into this postseason, having a guy that we have disliked all year long has dropped the ball and has been really a cancer to us this season, be a positive for once. That's something we could take into the postseason. So, yeah, man, I'm excited about this game. I think this is kind of one of those games where there's no pressure. You know what I mean? But that can also be really fun for a team that can maybe let Andy Reid just kind of let loose. Maybe do some things different now that he has a quarterback that does different things. You know, that doesn't have to do too much, like isn't dependent on as much. So maybe Blaine can go out there and just play free. And we've seen Blaine go out there and have some games on other teams, even when filling in for games for Tom and Tampa and stuff. He's had some solid games. So yeah, I hope is Clyde's playing, right?
Yeah, Clyde will play.
Yeah, so I can see Clyde go out there catching some balls too, running pretty good. Because you can definitely run on this Chargers defense, especially with as banged up as they are now. Who knows who all is going to be playing? I expect the Chiefs to win. I mean, even sitting a lot of these guys, I think the Chiefs are still the better, superior team. I think we've had the edge on this team on the Chargers for the longest time. We always find ways to win, even though their one win against us a couple years ago was a bragging rights game for some reason when Pat wasn't playing and numerous starters were out. Same situation like this, but they wanted to call that a win against the Chiefs. It's hilarious.
Hang the banner.
Right. So, yeah, man, just for fun and games, and for moving into the postseason, moving forward into the postseason, keeping that winning culture alive, coming off back-to-back wins would be a fun thing because we haven't won back-to-back games in like 4 or 5 weeks,
at least
6 weeks almost.
Yeah.
I think since like late November we haven't won back-to-back games. So late October. I mean, since we haven't won back-to-back games, so it's been a minute since we put them together.
They haven't won back-to-back games since October.
That's what I'm saying.
October 12th and 22nd. It was
so
the Denver Broncos and Chargers.
Regardless if it's the backups or the starters, getting on a roll, gaining some momentum going into whatever matchup it is that we face, and we'll find out here this weekend who we're going to be facing. But we're going to have to get up for it because whoever we're facing in the AFC, man, is going to be a challenge.
And I'll talk about that in a second. I will just add to this before we have our guy Marcus Dash come on.
Who's in the room, by the way?
Oh, sweet. Okay, I'll just put this take out there, and then we'll get Marcus on, I promise. We hear that Kadarius Toney's more likely not going to play. In fact, I think he's been ruled out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yes.
If that is the case, because I'm going to be real. I've been saying this for 2 weeks now. I think we've seen the last.
You don't think he's going to play?
I think we've seen the last of him as a Chief. I think that if he is going to play though in the postseason though, this is a game he should be playing.
Yeah.
Because we've seen Kadarius Toney not be able to handle the pressure and
hate
expectation
that, though, man. It sucks.
In a game where there's no pressure, where this is a game where the Chiefs lose nothing. I would like to see him go out there and get his hands going, because what did I say about confidence? Yeah. We know that he is not confident right now.
Sure.
We know he's not. He's shaking.
And it's weird, though, because he was practicing in full, and then he became limited. I think he might have had some kind of
Or
issue.
He's been benched. I'm wondering, because he's costing this offense.
Did he fumble the ball and turn it over on the practice squad defense? I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, what I'm saying is I think this team knows, like, we can't afford to have you on the field.
Yeah.
We're on the precipice of losing our season.
Yeah.
And we can't have you out there.
We cannot have. Yeah, we cannot.
And he doesn't bring
that.
anything else. I mean, if you want to play him on special teams, fine. My point is, if the Chiefs are actually thinking about playing him in the post, if he gets a single postseason snap on offense, sitting him this week makes no sense. Because this is a game where you want to get him right. You want to get him 8 to 12 targets, get him feeling good about himself out there in open space, making some big plays, and then all of a sudden he's rejuvenated.
Yeah, I think if he plays in the postseason, it's probably strictly punt returns or kick returns. Probably mostly just punt returns. Some kind of special team role. I think that would be it. Because please don't throw that man. As much as I love 𝚂𝙺𝙀𝙺 and believe in him, we can't throw to him.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to throw balls to him in the postseason, bro. So.
And that's what I'm worried about, and that's something that we need to get some expertise on, man, because I'm legitimately concerned about the potential of that actually taking shape or taking place in this, which is why we got to get some expert advice here, Trevor. We got to talk to an actual expert. We got to get some, to somebody that I trust very much when it comes to their opinion. One of my best pals, a guy that I've been talking up all show long, somebody that I think is absolutely crushing the game right now. He, I believe he's 28, 29 years old, looking like he's turning 20. He's got that Ralph Macchio thing going on. Really appreciate that.
I love that shirt, man.
Ladies, look out. He's taken. So don't hit the DMs. But you know what? You can enjoy window shopping a little bit as he's on our show.
He's mine.
He is the co-host of the Chief Concerns podcast. He is a guy that is very knowledgeable, awesome dude, I think, like I said, one of the best guys in the Chiefs community, and they have I think, the most unique show with a player's perspective and a reporter's perspective. Just a very rich show, man, full of information. I feel like I learn something every single time I watch these guys. He is the co-host, like I said, of the Chief Concerns podcast. Let's give it up for the one and only Marcus Dash!
What's up, buddy? What a great intro there, Lance. I think I need to have that in our intro for a Chief Concern show from now on.
That's your new ringtone.
I want royalties. I want royalties.
Like an ad
I
spot.
demand these.
I'm going to take out an advertisement for our show on YouTube. I'm going to have that as our. Yeah, I think was the first things first. They have they read the reviews and stuff on the advertisements. They want to have to do that now. What's up, fellas? Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year, bud. How you feeling?
Pretty good. You talk about 𝚂𝙺𝙀𝙺, Tony. They gave me some PTSD though, man.
I know.
Well, and let's just start right there, because I think that is something that we have to focus on. Because as I was telling Trevor, going into this game against the Chargers, even though this game means literally nothing as far as the seedings are considered, to me, this is a game the Chiefs can utilize to really start feeling good about themselves. We saw at the end of the game against the Bengals, they're doing the swag surf on the sidelines. It feels like the team's starting to feel good about themselves. Even though they only scored one touchdown, we saw the defense make a statement. We saw Patrick Mahomes look good. We saw Rashee Rice make the biggest play of the season, 67-yard play. I think this team is feeling good about themselves. So in this game, add on to it. Let the ball continue to roll down the field by having Blaine Gabbert go out there and sling the rock all day long. Get these young, unproven wide receivers feeling good about themselves, because I feel like some of these guys might play a role in this in the playoffs, no matter how far the Chiefs go. But my point when it comes to 𝚂𝙺𝙀𝙺 is, who has been inactive and inactivated for this game, if he's going to play a single offensive snap, he needs to be playing in this game. Unless he's injured, which we haven't heard yet, I feel like this is an opportunity for him to get some of that confidence he is very much in need of, above anybody else on this roster, quite frankly. He needs to be redeemed. He needs to go out there and have a decent game in a game that there is no pressure. And just, get 8 to 10 targets, get himself in open space, create some plays, because Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and those guys are going to be on the sidelines pumping their guys on, raw away. If 𝚂𝙺𝙀𝙺 is a guy that they're going to be looking at in any way, this is the perfect game for them to be getting him back into rhythm. Not playing him in this game. I just don't see the reason to play him in the postseason. What are your thoughts on this postseason? What are your thoughts on this whole 𝚂𝙺𝙀𝙺 situation, Marcus?
Yeah, so this whole week, so JD and I on our show, we do our preview for the game on Wednesday, and we did kind of an incentive and milestone kind of predictions, and we talked about Rashee Rice, getting 62 yards to get the 1,000-yard marker. And JD said, he should be playing the whole game, MVS should be playing the whole game, Richie James should be playing the whole game, 𝚂𝙺𝙀𝙺 should be playing the whole game, because really, the wide receiver, they haven't really done much this season, and they need to have another game to kind of get that under their belt. And Tony would be another guy, and if for anything, to get him more reps, to get his confidence back. And nothing better than getting your confidence back against a game that doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter for us. Chargers, I don't know, does it really matter for them? That interim coach is not going to be their head coach, and I don't think he's vying for a head coaching position. So I don't think that win really matters for them that much. But I will say, the Tony thing, you might be right on with this whole. We might have seen him for the last time, because it doesn't make any sense that we're not seeing him anymore. I think Sky Moore might be done for sure. I think that's pretty much a lock on that whole situation. But yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that we aren't going to see Tony play this weekend, because we just need to give him his confidence back. Because, I mean, that's one thing. Yeah, is he a wide receiver one? No. I remember this whole offseason. Oh, yeah, Chiefs are treating him like a wide receiver one going into the season. And I think, obviously, we know he's not that. But, like, he could be the gadget guy that this offense needs. And the fact that we're not even like, getting him in action this last game of the season, it's just very – I don't know. It's troubling to me. But I will say, like, Kelsey on his show, you kind of referenced it. It seemed like our offense and the team was kind of getting their mojo back. He referenced it this week. He got some flack for saying that, you know, it feels like we're back. You know, obviously, yeah. I guess what this game showed me last week was more about we're kind of taking this whole thing of being this, not trying to be the high powered offense. I think we're embracing, you know, just get points on the board, come away with points, whether it is a field goal, if it is us stalling in the red zone, which has been a story all year long. If it is that, sure, at least we're getting 3 points out of it and letting the defense kind of win this game for us. And it seems like we kind of embraced that because after the game, they interviewed Mahomes about it. Mahomes said, like, you know, as long as we're getting points and the defense is kind of winning this games for us, you know, we're coming away with points and not turnovers. And that is a step in the right direction. So it seems like there is a kind of a change there. But, yeah, I really want to see Tony get some reps. But, hey, that means it's Justin Ross season come tomorrow. And Blake Gavin's be throwing up bombs to that guy. Oh, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's something I definitely want to see as well. Because, like I said, I think there's the others, if you will, the guys that this offense doesn't necessarily lean on, but roll. I mean, we've seen guys like David Tyree make humongous plays in Super Bowls. Guys that, you know, never really did much in the league, but just had this one big moment. That could be one of these guys. You know, Justin Ross could be a dude that makes a monster play on a tiptoe catch on the sideline on a big third down because Patrick, out of desperation, throws to him and it saves the Chiefs postseason. I mean, things like that happen every single year. That's why you see these highlights, you know, in the annals of history. Some of those guys are nobodies. Let's just be real. Guys that never really did a lot. And these guys get that practice in this week. And I feel confident the Chiefs are going to win this game. Not that it matters, but I think they're going to win this game because I think they have the better quarterback on the field. I think they'll still have the better defense. And I just think they're going to go out there and just do what they need to do to get this game over with. I don't know what your speculation on guys like Isaiah Pacheco is, but for me, I would rather not see him on the field at all. But if there are some guys guys that I feel like are already proven, who would you like to see on the field on the defense and offensive side of things get some play in this time? Because I know Chris Jones still wants to get his incentives. Travis Kelce wants to get that 16 yards. If both those guys want to play and want to go for those incentives, I'm okay with that. But you're going to have to give them a snap count, you know, maybe a couple series. What are your thoughts, man? Do you want to see all the big time names, sat, or do you want to see a couple of these guys get a chance?
Man, 16 yards, I think Kelce could keep him in there as long as he just gets – once he gets that milestone, get him out of the game. 16 yards with 2 catches, get him out. First drive, make a concerted effort to get him the ball, and then get him out. So what is that? The two catches, 20 yards, done. The day's over. Chris Jones, I'd say you give him a half. That's what JD was saying. Give him a half, and if he doesn't get that half sack within the first half of the game, okay, like you could pay him out anyway. He came that close to that incentive. Was it like $2 million for the half sack to get the 10?
Yep.
So I mean, you pay him out. I mean, he came pretty damn close to the incentive. And then Pacheco, that's the one where, yeah, sure, play him that half, but like, was he need 65 yards for 1,000? And like, I don't know if he gets paid a little bit more for that, but I mean, as a 7th round guy, if he doesn't have any incentive, man, that whatever incentive that is for a guy who's getting paid 7th round money, it might be pretty big for the guy. Yeah, that's the only one where I'm like, don't play him. You've mentioned it. It's one of the things you've kind of been punching in for the last 2 years is that Pacheco's great, but it's a guy that don't kind of rely on him for the long haul of his career. The way he runs, he puts himself out there for so many hits, injuries, and with the shoulder injury and the shoulder surgery a couple weeks ago. I mean, that's a guy, like, he puts himself out there. When he plays, it's either all or nothing, man, with him. There's no, like, I'm going to play, kind of shy away. No, he's a physical guy. That's the way he plays ball, and I respect it. But, like, that's the one guy you play him for a half, maybe busts out a 60-yard run to get him that 1,000. But that's the only one where I'm like, play him. But I will say this, though. If any position group, especially the guys behind him right now with McKinnon, we don't know what's going on with that injury. If any position group needs to get some playing time, is those guys behind Pacheco. It's the LaMichael P. Ryan. It is the Denaric Princes. we want to see what those guys can give us, and this would be a good spot to see, hey, like get acclimated to the offense, because you never know if CH is sick or he's out in 2 weeks, and Pacheco needs a spell during a game where you need to rely on LaMichael Pirine. And what I saw from LaMichael Pirine last week was us wasting a timeout because the guy didn't know where to line up. And I think when he has 1 carry on the season, it was like one of the worst, saddest carries I've seen in the year. He got the ball and like did like a little jump, a little dive, and I don't think he even got a yard on that. So like, let's get him some playing time as much as possible. So yeah, I'm fine with Kelce playing until he gets to 16 yards. I'm fine with Chris Jones playing at least however long it takes him to get the half a sack. If he doesn't get it by halftime, yank him. But Pacheco, maybe play in the first quarter, and if he doesn't break out a long run, then let's let LaMichael Pirine and Deneric Prince ride.
Well, we know that the Bengals game, the biggest story was obviously Rashee Rice breaking out, getting that big play. I've been saying for weeks now that I think what Rashee Rice is going to become in this league, and I don't want to put a cap on the kid. I'm not sitting here saying that he could be something special. It could be a wide receiver 1, superstar wide receiver. I'm not trying to say he can't be. But what I'm anticipating realistically is for this guy to be a high-end wide receiver 2. I think he's going to be what we consider the fully healthy Sammy Watkins in this offense. Just a very extremely effective wide receiver, a guy that can make plays when you need him, and when your stud wide receiver 1 goes down, he can carry the offense for a couple of games here and there. And I think in this Bengals game with that big play, that big downfield play that he had, 67 yards, I think he showed that. And I've shown the clip multiple times on this show, on social media, that it's very similar, both body build and the way he plays, to Sammy Watkins when he played at his best, before he started getting injuries. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel like that's a great thing. I think it's a great thing because we know this wide receiver room is never going to be this bad again. Brett Veach is going to overcorrect this offense this offseason 100%. This is going to be a completely different wide receiver room come 2024. But I think that they have a nice head start because, to Brett Veach's credit, they went and drafted Rashee Rice, and he's been an absolute hit. What do you see from him? Do you see it the same way I do, where he's going to be like that nice X receiver in this offense? Or do you think, no, I think this guy can be in the same tier as a Devontae Adams or a Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson? What do you see from him?
Yeah, the Sammy Watkins thing, I remember when we did our draft show that was who Tasia compared him to. When we drafted him, so he reminds me of Sammy Watkins, especially his yak ability. And, I mean, so far it looks great. And Sammy Watkins was drafted to be the wide receiver 1. I mean, he had the injury problems, which kind of took that away from him. But the one thing I kind of see it, and yes, the one thing I've been harping on is the fact that we are going to overcorrect. It's going to be the receiver room this year is going to be our version of post-Super Bowl when we got dominated by the Buccaneers, and we overcorrected that O-line. What happened? The O-line was night and day the next year. Same thing's going to happen in the receiver room, which is why I don't think we're even going to draft. Everyone's talking about us drafting Romeo Dunze from Washington. We're not drafting a rookie receiver in the rounds 1 or 2. I don't think so. I think we're going to bring in a veteran, a proven guy. I mean, I think, yeah, we hit on Rice, but we didn't hit on Sky Moore. So we're 1 for 2 in that category. So, like, right. Are we going to leave it to a 50-50 chance? No, I think we're going to go sign a guy. And honestly, like, I know we always at Chiefs Kingdom, we like to knock on CH a little bit. If we just draft either T. Higgins or Michael Pittman Jr. at the end of that first round, we're not even having this conversation right now. We could have had an overlap with Tyreek and T. Higgins at one point, or Michael Pittman Jr. at one point. But, we're not going to get into all that. I do think we are going to pay for getting rid of MVS. We're going to save $12 million by doing that, or whatever his contract is.
Yeah, it's like 9.5 to the cap. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it's 10 more million right there that we can apply to whoever, whether it is a T. Higgins, whether it is a Mike Evans. I do think we're going to get a proven guy this offseason. But yeah, as far as Rashee Rice, I don't know where to say if he's going to be a wide receiver 1. I don't think he's going to be a Devontae Adams by any means. I do see him. One of the things I kind of compare him to, like, he's kind of a physical guy. I know Tasia was Sammy Watkins. He kind of reminded me of an Anquan Bolden type. And Anquan Bolden was always a solid receiver. He was always a top 5-6 round guy in fantasy, but he wasn't wide receiver 1. They went and got Fitzgerald for a reason to pair him with Bolden, right? And then when Bolden was in Baltimore, he wasn't the wide receiver 1. Yeah, he was a solid wide receiver 2. And I think that's what Rashee Rice is going to be. He could very well be a solid wide receiver 1. But, like, I think he's a good, solid wide receiver, too. And that is a 1,000-yard receiver. That is an 80-catch guy. That is a guy who, I think could very well pair with a Mike Evans or T. Higgins. And then also, and we have Travis Kelce for the next couple of years on top of that. So I do think that Rashee Rice is, at worst case, he's a solid wide receiver too.
Yeah, and I want to ask one more question when it comes to the offense. Then I want to get to the defense for a second, because I think there's something interesting to talk about when it comes to just how good they've been and how good they can continue to be, and what that would mean for the Chiefs moving forward in the postseason. But my theory, and it's so crazy, I told Trevor at the beginning of the show, former Chiefs wide receiver Garrett Dieter was on 810 locally here in Kansas City, and he was talking about something that I was actually prepared to talk about on the show this week. And I think it's perfect. I 100% believe this is the best chance for the offense to be what Travis Kelce thinks they are, which is back. And it's cutthroat. MVS does not play in the postseason, straight up. Whether it's 1 game or 3 games or 4 games, whatever it is. He doesn't play. He is not helping this offense whatsoever. You put Justin Watson in the MVS role in this offense, where he spreads the field, where he spreads the defense. He is that legitimate downfield threat. Rashee Rice plays that X, where he's cutting across the middle of the field, 10, 15-yard dig routes, things of that nature. Travis Kelce takes all the underneath stuff. And now the Chiefs have something that I think a lot of teams aren't prepared for. And you saw it in this Bengals game. You saw Isaiah Pacheco with the Pacheco down, as I like to call it. That beautiful play that Andy drew up. And he was wide open, walked right in the end zone with the ball. Great crisp route from a running back. Good, reliable hands. For me, that's the best way the Chiefs can attack a defense going into the postseason. By trimming all the fat, any real risk of dropping passes, because I don't believe Kadarius Toney's going to be playing. I don't believe MVS should be playing. And we know that Sky Moore's not going to be out there. For me, just by subtraction, you get addition. And I think that's the best attack for this offense to put out there, especially while Jerick McKinnon's still on the shelf for at least 1 week into the postseason. What are your thoughts, Marcus? Do you see it the same way, similarly, or do you see it completely different?
I mean, I wish that was the case, but like there's been times this year where like the offense just kind of like messes with me, where it's there was 1 week where like when we first saw the real significant drop in snap count for Sky Moore and MVS. Right, there was I forgot what week it was, but it was like, oh man, like they're starting to lose their snaps. And then Rashee Rice has this big game against the Raiders, and all of a sudden the next week, MVS is back to having the most snaps for receivers. It's like, what's going on here? I really don't understand. But yes, everything you're saying should be the case, and that'd be great. I'd be all about it. But like nothing about what we've been trying to do with the wide receiver room has made any sense. Sky Moore, that made sense. Obviously, whatever's not working with that, if he does have a significant injury or whatever it is, okay, sure, shelf him away, and that might be the last we see of Sky Moore. But MVS, man, I don't know. And then the whole motioning, you put the ball back here. Come on, dude. Like you had 2 hands on the ball. It's ridiculous. And then when I played ball, and this is what JD was talked about. You get a finger on the ball, that means you got a hand on the ball. You catch the ball, and that's the way these guys are. And like you're actually telling him, dude, he had guys in his mouth, dude, and he still got the ball to you. You should have caught that. Sorry, man. And like for the fact that the guy, same dude just dropped the Eagles catch. I don't know. I get you're trying to dish blame, and when reporters are asking you questions about your drops and you don't even know what they're talking about, it's like, come on, man. Like take some accountability. He's the elder statesman in the wide receiver room. That's the worst part. He's not like some young buck. Dude, you're the elder statesman, man. You're supposed to be the example, and you're anything but the example. But, like, I would love for MVS to get his snaps reduced and not play at all. That's not going to happen, though. I mean, we've seen that. There's been more than enough ample size of examples as to why he shouldn't be getting the snaps he's getting, but he's going to be there. And one thing I will say is, and this is what JD's talked about, MVS, the drops, he does a lot of bad, but there are some things he does well, and JD said that like the one thing that stands out for him is his blocking down the field, which is something that Rice is lacking in, and a lot of these other guys, these young guys, aren't like the best at. MVS is probably the best blocker. I know we're not paying him $13 million to be this great blocker, but like if we are going to become more of this balance, more ground and pound, at least for this version of the Chiefs this year, MVS is a good guy for that, at least. He can block down the field if we are going to kind of stick to 15 to 20 carries a game for Pacheco and play action. And I did love the offense last week. I know that they say they reduced the offense a little bit, simplified it. I love the play action last week, which is something we don't really see that often in this offense. If that is what we're going to kind of do, sure, let MVS be out there making downfield blocks. But I would love to see MVS stretch the field because that is kind of the reason why we got him in the first place. I mean, since last year, Mahomes and him just can't connect, which is crazy because, like, the Texas offseason workouts, I thought that was just going to be such like a beautiful thing for us. Like, oh, man, they're going to work out in Texas together. They're going to get the timing down. And when they get to August, when they get to September, it's going to be beautiful. It never clicked. For whatever reason, it's never clicked.
Yeah, no, I understand that completely, man, and I wish you were wrong, but you probably are unfortunately going to be right, which is why the defense is going to have to be so great.
Yep.
And they're going to have to continue to be great. And the one thing that really gives me, I mean, it's like the Tums to my acid reflux here, is the fact that this defense, even against awesome offenses, have been awesome. You look at the Detroit game to start the season off without Chris Jones, without Charles Omenihu, they give up 14 points on defense. The next week in Jacksonville, when all the hype's there and Calvin Ridley's supposed to be this humongous addition to the Jaguars, 9 points. Then you're talking about against Miami in Germany, 14 points. They were up 21-0 at one point. The Philadelphia Eagles coming into Kansas City, this frustrating-ass loss, 21 points. And the only reason that was the case is because they got short fields a couple times. And then Green Bay, that's the one game I think that stands out where the defense didn't play very well. But you're due one game in a season, especially in Green Bay, Sunday Night Football, a team that's fighting for their lives. I'll give the defense a break on giving up 27 points in that game. I'll live with it, but they could have still won that game. Buffalo, 20 points, scored 6 points in the second half. I mean, these are playoff teams that are currently in the playoff picture, and this defense brought it every single time outside of one time, and they still had a chance to win that game. They haven't given up 30 points in a game in the regular season since week 4 of last season. This is a defense that my boy Bags has been doing his thing. And I think that's going to continue. And that's the one big reason outside of having the best quarterback in the league that can give me some hope, some semblance that this teams can make a run in the playoffs. I have my questions, legitimate concerns about this team being a legitimate playoff team. But the way this AFC playoff picture is setting up right now, I think this defense, with the sprinkling of Patrick Mahomes making a few plays here and there, and the idea of avoiding any risk of throwing to MVS, could legitimately help this team get to another AFC championship and potentially a Super Bowl. Do you believe this defense is going to carry on into the postseason this way? Because obviously it's going to be the test of all time. You're not facing bad teams anymore, but we've seen this defense prove themselves against legitimate playoff opponents. Do you see them carrying that into the postseason? Do you think that will be a legitimate reason why the Chiefs can have a deep playoff push?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, I think what we wanted this whole season was just for the offense to not. I think by week 7 is when we kind of all were like, all right, this offense is going to be what we thought it was this year, and that's fine. The defense is playing lights out, and the offense never turned it around. I think what Mahomes said after that game last week was so like not really glaring. It's what we all wanted, really. It was more like, okay, you finally bought in that the defense is going to be kind of our mainstay and keeping us in giving us a shot to win the whole thing this year. So that's getting points every drive. Don't turn the ball over. Just don't fuck up, and we'll be fine. Essentially, that's what it is. That's what we all want. And I think with what you said, coupling that with Mahomes being a team that has been to the Super Bowl multiple times, that kind of dominates in the playoffs, I think a great defense, and then you have Mahomes and Andy. I think that's just going to get us to the top. I think Mahomes can give us a couple magical plays. I don't think we're going to have these 400, 500-yard like performances in the playoffs from him this year. That's just not the way the team's built this year. I think the defense can do that. And yeah, I think the one outlier is the Green Bay game, and then like the Raiders game. Because I think people were pointing back to the Christmas Day game where everyone's like, "Oh man, the defense really that last drive we could have won that game." It's like, okay, the Packers game was like that Zamir White 60-yard run. Like it was the outlier. They the whole game they're dominating them. And no passes completed after the first quarter. But yeah, like the defense couldn't do it all game long, right? They needed the offense to get some points at some point, and I think last week we kind of found that. All right, just score points on a drive, even if it is Butker having to kick 6 field goals. We've lost a game. We've lost games where the opposing team kicks 6 field goals. So like as long as you're getting points, I think we're going to be in every game. And this defense, that's it. The defense will keep us in games. We just need to come away with some points on drives. Whether it is at 7, obviously we'd love that. But if it's getting 3, that's fine. We're not leaving any points on the field, and I think that's what's going to have to be. This give me some ugly games in the playoffs. I think
we have some big matchups this weekend when it comes to the Texans and Colts. Whoever wins that game is in the postseason. We obviously know that the Steelers got to take care of business in Baltimore in order to get to the postseason. And we know that Sunday Night Football, which I think the schedulers did it so perfectly, man. I mean, I know that people think out there that the NFL is rigged, but that's a pretty legitimate gripe in this one because of how perfect they set it up. I'm not saying it's rigged, but it feels like a story.
It is.
You have the Dolphins and the Bills, and we know that the Bills beat the crap out of the Dolphins in like week 2, week 3 of the season up in Buffalo. We know that the Dolphins are really banged up, but Marcus, I think the Dolphins are winning this game. I know it sounds nuts, but has this season not been nuts? Have we not seen the most insane upsets, the most crazy finishes to games, and the most unexpected teams being really good or really bad, or just it's been a very odd season. Scoring's been down league-wide. The Chiefs just aren't the same. Like, it just feels like one of those weird seasons. That's why, and plus, man, the Bills have been a team that in crucial moments and in close games don't win. They usually crumble under that pressure. And with the Stephon Diggs stuff still being weird, not talking to the media for months, like, I feel like the Dolphins, even though they're banged up, I think they're going to come in this game knowing how much is riding on this game because they know they can either be the 2 seed hosting a team in the postseason or having to go to Kansas City in the wild card round as the 6th seed. Like, there's a lot riding on this game for both teams, and I think that the home team is going to take care of business in this one. I think the running game is going to be super effective. I think Tyreek's going to have an absolute game, even though he's a little hobbled. I think the Raheem Mostert, I think the Achane, guys like that are going to really open up against this defense and create spaces and avenues for Tyreek Hill to go out there and eat. That's my opinion. But how do you see this weird-ass wild card week or this pre-postseason week going? Who do you think the Chiefs are going to be facing in the wild card round?
So the scenarios are still kind of so if Indianapolis and Houston, whoever wins that game gets in for right now at the last playoff spot, correct?
That's correct. And Trevor, we can actually show that real quick, the playoff stat. I have that. Our guy Braden Turner from KCSN actually has that. If we could drop that on the screen real quick. So that will show you the ultimate scenario for the Chiefs playing in the postseason, who they could potentially be playing. So Bills win, they get Miami. Miami Titans and Ravens win, they get the Bills. Miami Jags and Texans win, they play the Texans. Miami Jags and Colts win, they play the Colts. Miami Titans and Steelers, they play Pittsburgh. Very simple, not difficult at all, not entertained at all.
So there you go, Marcus. Give me Pittsburgh, baby. Come on.
Yeah, I would love Pittsburgh. Yeah, who wouldn't? Give me Pittsburgh or Colts. Really, I'd love to play Mason Rudolph or Minshew. I mean,
yep.
I think those two obviously the obvious ones. Texans, Stroud. I mean, he's been a great story this year, but that's a high one. Obviously, I prefer the bottom Pittsburgh, Colts, Texans before Bills or Miami. Although I say Miami coming to with that banged up team coming to Kansas City, and apparently based on the I know it's a long way out, but next week's forecast, you got a Miami team coming to a cold ass Arrowhead. I mean that's tough. It's not like we're going to play in Miami. Not that they really have that much of a fan base down there. Their home crowd kind of sucks, but like at least that's more of a neutral site than playing in like a kind of a heated area. But like playing potentially like 10-degree weather next weekend, that's tough, man. And Tua's not used to that. Tyreek's used to that, but he's also banged up, and we know injuries.
They're all banged up.
Yeah. Injuries, having any kind of lingering injury in cold weather like that is not good at all. And especially because they have to play this weekend too. So it's not like they can rest their guys and give them one more week. No, they're playing next week, and who knows if it's going to be on a Saturday or it's the Monday game. So it could be a short week too for these guys. I do think just selfishly, I did a divisional bet before the season started, and I need Miami to win. So Detroit hit, Kansas City hit, San Francisco hit. I need Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville to win tomorrow to win my division bet for the year. So the Miami one's a scary one though, and for obvious reasons. But I think 3 points. It was 3.5 points, but now it's down to 3, I believe. As far as them being 3-point dogs, I think I I think Miami wins tomorrow night. I really do. I think everyone's just buying Buffalo, and like Buffalo's getting 3 points. So they're pretty much getting 6 points, really, because they're getting 3 points at Miami. What has Buffalo done the last 2 weeks? I don't really understand why everyone's jumping on their jock.
Right.
They almost lost to Easton Stick. I mean, they made Easton Stick in that game till the very end. They just haven't looked good at all. They should have lost. And then who they played last week? That was another ugly game.
The Patriots, yeah. I mean, Zappe had the ball with a minute and a half left, down 27-21.
And he gave the ball away like 7 times in the first half of the game. They should have railroad. They should have steamrolled those guys. But I mean, 2 weeks in a row, it's like I don't understand how Miami. Everyone's saying Buffalo is the best team in the AFC. Where they can arguably be the best team in the AFC. It's not even close. Baltimore is the best team in the AFC. Buffalo should not even be in the conversation about that. Okay, what is the? I don't know if you guys know this off the top of your head. So Buffalo loses that game. They could be out of the playoffs. Who needs to win for them to be? Who needs to win or lose to be out of the playoffs?
So if the Bills lose and the Jaguars and Steelers win, the Bills are out of the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not. Basically, I think if the Bills lose, they're out of the playoffs because I do believe that the Jaguars are going to win that game. I know the Titans are coming in there very motivated. Mike Vrabel's been talking a lot of shit this week about, losing sucks. I mean, I don't think Will Levis is playing, if I'm not mistaken. I think Ryan Tannehill's playing. They're all banged. The Titans are banged up. Their injury report is like this damn long, bro. So, I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence plays. I think they squeak out a victory. I think the Titans can cover the 5 points, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. But I do think they squeak that victory out. And I do believe that I picked the Steelers to beat the Ravens. The Ravens have literally nothing to play for. They're not going to be playing any of their important players. Steelers absolutely have to have this game. I think that they're going to squeak out a victory up there in Baltimore, take care of business. The Bills know, and the Bills are going to know when they're playing whether they are going to be in or not. Like as far as like, if we got to win this game. If we don't win this game, we're literally eliminated. They're going to know that. And that's something they got to think about, man. So, I definitely think that the Bills have a lot of pressure. And if we know anything about this team, we know anything about Josh Allen, they don't handle pressure well. And I think the only way the Bills win this game is if James Cook has an awesome game. And I just don't, even with the Dolphins having a banged-up defense, I think they have still enough to not allow James Cook to play great football because, to your point, the Bills have been begging one of these teams to beat them. And Josh Allen over the last 4 weeks has 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, averaging 183 passing yards per game with a 73 quarterback rating. Like, that's a problem for the Bills. They're going to need their quarterback to be really good. They're going to need James Cook to be really good, and I don't see it. I think the Dolphins are going to have a really good game plan. We forget that Vic Fangio is their new DC, and these are the kind of games Vic Fangio lives for as a defensive coordinator. And I think Mike McDaniel's going to be in his bag. I think Tua's going to have an efficient game, and I think Tyreek Hill is going to go off in this game. Even though he's banged up, there's nobody in that secondary that's slowing him down. He is 8 against this Bills team more times than once. So that's why I stand where I stand. And Marcus, I don't want to keep you too much longer here, man. I got 2 more questions for you. The AFC playoff picture, let's say it holds the way you and I see it, man, where obviously the Chiefs have the 3 seed, Ravens have the 1. I think the Dolphins are getting that 2. Jags get the 4. And then you have your 3 wildcard teams, I believe it's the Browns, the Steelers and the Colts or Texans. I think it's wide open. I think it's very much wide open for any team to win. I think there's 3 or 4 teams in the AFC that can legitimately get to the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But who, in your opinion, is the scariest team for the Chiefs to face? Because I think there's a varied opinion out there. I mean, everybody thinks it's the Ravens. The Ravens are 1-3 in the postseason with Lamar Jackson. They had a number 2 defense, I think, in the NFL in 2019, and they lost their first playoff game to the Titans. Got whooped. I think the playoff picture is better now than it was back in 2019, in my opinion. Yep. So I think it's going to be even tougher for the Ravens. But that's not even my point. For you, let's say the Chiefs survive the wild card round, or even in the wild card round, what team scares you the most, man, for the Chiefs? Because we know there are some legitimate opponents in this playoff picture.
The team that scares me the most, I'm gonna stick with the Ravens. And the thing that really set it straight for me. And obviously, we'll have a different game plan for when we play Baltimore, but we've had a hard time containing Hurts when we played them, especially at the fourth quarter of that game. That's when Hurts kind of started running a little bit more. Josh Allen, we just have generally a hard time containing him because he can get out of the pocket. And then last week is when I was like, okay, we're going to really have a hard time with Lamar Jackson. We made Browning look like Josh Allen last week. For the first half of that game, he was running on us and getting yards like little by little. Obviously, we'll have a different game plan for Browning versus Lamar Jackson. But that's the thing where I'm scared about playing Baltimore. The other teams don't really scare me. I mean, I do think it's going to come down to us in Baltimore if our offense can continue to put up points. But like, so if we see it the same way, so Miami wins, we think Jacksonville and Pittsburgh win. So then Buffalo's out of the playoffs. So then that means we play round one. We would play Pittsburgh. We should win that game. Reseeding wise, so that means Baltimore play the winner of the Houston Colts versus Miami. So then Baltimore would play them. Well, actually, no. So we probably play Miami then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love our chances going down to Miami playing in like I said, a pretty much neutral site because Miami doesn't really have a good fan base there. And then also we're playing in like 80-degree weather in January. That's pretty scary to play against, especially they're banged up. And then we're playing in 80-degree weather. We're gonna be refreshed, man, going from freaking cold ass Kansas City to Miami. I love us in that spot. And so then it pretty much goes to the Baltimore, Kansas City. That all leads to that. And then you go in Baltimore, and that's a tough place to play. But like you said before, Lamar's choked in the playoffs, where they have this when they were big favorites and they just choked, and it happens. But I see the AFCs and the NFC really being both two really top heavy like spots. So I think Kansas City and Baltimore are the two teams that I think are going to come out if Buffalo doesn't get in. So I do think having Josh Allen in there, you can't really. You got to go with the three best quarterbacks between Lamar, Josh, and Mahomes all in the same conference. So if Josh Allen does get in there, like those are the three teams you got to think about. If Allen doesn't get in, I think it's just really Baltimore and Kansas City. Those are only two teams that have a possibility of coming out of the AFC. And then on the other side, so yeah, we get to Baltimore. That's where it's going to be interesting. Can we play at M&T? Can we win in Baltimore? That's going to be tough. That's a tough team, man. And that's the whole like containing the quarterback. That's just scary. I know we have a great pass rush. I know Spags has been in his bag this entire year, but like that's gonna be an interesting one. But I do think we have a shot to beat Baltimore. I don't think they're world beaters. I think a lot of people were saying they are world beaters because the way they beat the shit out of San Francisco, the way they beat the shit out of the Dolphins. I think everyone's saying that Baltimore is the scariest team. I don't think they're that scary. I really don't. I don't think any team this year is a scary team. That's just the beauty about the NFL this year. There's really not these like, oh man, they're far and better than everybody else. No, everyone's so close. That's why this playoffs is coming down to all these division winners are coming down tomorrow because it's so close. But I do think it's Baltimore. And then the other side, I think San Francisco. I think it's it. San Francisco and Dallas. But I think if Dallas has to go play in San Francisco, it's done. And then San Francisco's going to win that. Phillies, I think we can all agree that they're not it this year.
Philly, I think they're cooked. I think they're absolutely cooked.
Yeah.
Their defense is atrocious, and their offense has had, for a team that is loaded offensively, they just continue to struggle. I think it's mostly because of the fact they lost Shane Steichen as their OC. See, that is the team that you look at and say, oh, that is a team that misses their OC because they're loaded offensively and they're struggling.
Yeah.
That must mean they missed their offensive genius running the offenses. Nick Sirianni clearly wasn't that guy. It was Shane Steichen, and you see him transition that over to Indianapolis as their head coach.
Since Dayball left Buffalo, the offenses have been the same. Yeah.
Those are teams that legitimately miss their OC. So, I think that they're cooked for sure, man.
I'm looking at the Miami spread. So now it's gone from 3 to 2.5 now, and 61% of the betting public is on Buffalo.
I guess I'm the sick one that wants Buffalo. I want Buffalo.
I'm not. Just for the record here, Marcus, I want to put this out there, and I mean this because I get Bills fans at me in more ways than I care to explain. But I'm not scared of that Buffalo team. The only reason we're sitting here talking about the Bills potentially making the postseason is because Kadarius Toney doesn't have an optometrist. That's why. That team doesn't scare me, and Marcus just broke it down. They've been begging to lose to bad teams and bad quarterbacks for weeks.
Bro, I'm going to break their hearts again. I want it.
I mean, Marcus, am I wrong? Do they scare you?
No, not at all. I think I was listening to a podcast, Action Network, the betting guys, and one of the guys was talking about Buffalo. Like, there's no way, like that they almost lost last week, and it's like, wait, did you forget the San Diego game or the Chargers game the week before? He was like, there's no way 2 weeks in a row they can go in and play that way. I just think they're going to handle business in Miami. And I'm like, wait, you mean 3 weeks in a row because that just happened. because everyone's forgetting that Saturday night game. I know it was a forgettable game. I want my 3 hours back after watching that one. But like,
right?
How are we forgetting that? Like, it's freaking Easton Stick.
Yeah, man. Thank you. A lot happened after that, like Christmas game. The Chiefs lose frustratingly, so everyone kind of forgot about that game. But you're right; it still happened. 30 seconds left on the clock. The Chargers had the lead, so yeah, they don't scare me. So maybe, if the Chiefs end up facing the playoffs, I actually feel that actually might be one of the few matchups I feel good about, to be honest with you, because I think the Chiefs can they have beaten the Bills multiple times in the postseason. I think the good times continue to roll in that matchup. I pick the Chiefs without a moment's hesitation.
Sure.
But that's just that leads to my last question here, Marcus, because we have taken your time.
On that question?
No, go, Trevor.
Yeah.
Would it change your opinion? So let's say Buffalo does win tomorrow night and we have to travel to Buffalo. Does that change your opinion at all?
No, because I've seen this Buffalo team. 2 reasons. The Buffalo Bills have struggled at home this season. I know they have a good winning record at home this year.
As have we.
But they've lost to the Broncos. They've lost. They should have lost to the damn Giants. There's been several games throughout the season, not just in short portions of it,
right,
where the Bills have adequately struggled and should have lost more games at home than they did. Furthermore, the Chiefs have been a better road team this season than a home team. So if the Chiefs had to go on the road, I would feel, actually, insane as it sounds,
right,
pretty damn good about the Chiefs going up to Buffalo and taking care of business.
And what a better game to win in the Pats' first road playoff game, to go to Buffalo
That'd be poetic.
And win. How fucking awesome would that be, bro? It'd be cool.
Feel for their fans.
Right. Yeah.
No one circles the L's better than the Buffalo Bills. No, but my final question here, Marcus, unless Trevor, you had one. My final question here, it's simple. And I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but that's what we do here, bro. I know it would be the same if I was on your guys' show. We ask hard-hitting questions and we get hard-hitting answers. Super Bowl, who's the matchup?
I think we get a rematch.
Woo!
KC San Francisco rematch.
Oh, okay. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Not Philly. No, not Philly.
I like it. Now, I'm going to give you an additional question. I lied. If it's Chiefs and 49ers, analyze that game for me, man. How does it go? Because I know the Niners are loaded. They are. But I do believe their greatest weakness or biggest question is Brock Purdy. And I think it was on full display in that Ravens game.
Dominant.
It showed that when you have an adequate defense that can make adequate pressure and have studs on all 3 levels of the defense, you can make him look very, very much like a backup. He looked like Gardner Minshew in that game.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have that, especially if they get Brian Cook back, which it does look like that could happen if they make a deep push.
Mm-hmm.
Analyze that game for me real quick, Marcus.
So it's interesting you asked me to do that because beginning of the season, I like to make a lot of season-long bets. So my season-long bet I made, it was a college football and NFL one. I had Michigan winning the national championship. I had San Fran being the representative in the NFC, so winning the NFC, and then the Chiefs winning the AFC. I didn't want to make a Super Bowl bet because I was like, God, do I think we can win? Do I think we can beat San Francisco? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have us win the AFC and have them win the NFC. I do think that game, that Christmas Day night game, was really telling. We don't know much about Purdy, man. That's probably his biggest bright light game. Obviously, you can't really count the Philly game last year. He was out in that game so fast. I think the big one in that one, I think our defense is going to win us that game. It's going to be a very ugly game. It's going to be it's going to be very Patriots-Rams Super Bowl. If I were to put my money on it, I would take the under in that game. I don't see them doing a lot. I don't see either offense really doing much in that game. I know they have a lot more pieces than us between Debo and CMC, but I think our defense is that good, and their defense is that good too. So they're going to limit us too. So I could see a lot of Butker and a lot of Moody in that game. So I could see like a 21-17 kind of game, really ugly. But I do think we would come away with the win there. But I think that's more my chief bias there, man. I think that's a coin toss of a game if it does get to Kansas City and San Francisco, because you have one team that just dominates the game on both sides of the ball. But that Baltimore game, and also the one thing about that Baltimore game too, it was at home and they got dominated like that. You don't see teams get spanked like that at home,
especially in prime time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the biggest cheek beatings of the season, man.
A Kyle Shanahan team. I mean, those guys, he doesn't usually get destroyed like that.
Yeah.
So
my opinion changed drastically. I don't want to be a knee-jerk guy, but that was a big spot that was a statement game. Because if it had happened on the opposite, we're sitting here going, oh, San Francisco's unbeatable.
Yeah.
We'd be sitting here giving them that, and we'd be talking about the Ravens and how questionable they are.
Because
so
that
you
was,
have
that
to
was the
keep
narrative
that
going
same
into
energy.
that game. That was the narrative going into that was the narrative going in that San Francisco was this unbeatable team.
Yeah, the Ravens were dogs.
Yeah.
So that's something to definitely look at, and I actually like that pick, man. That's a good one, man. I really do. I really like that. I hope that you're actually right, because I think that would create even more of that would be a huge legacy build for the Chiefs, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in particular, because if they beat an historic, like, blue blood-ish franchise like that multiple times in the Super Bowl, that kind of adds to the prestige, because we know the 49ers are one of the best franchises in NFL history. A loaded roster again. The Chiefs go in there, because, we got to remember, that 2019 Niners team was the better team. They had the better roster.
Sure.
Yeah.
They just didn't have the quarterback. That would be the exact same story in this matchup.
And I think if we did do that, I think that would leapfrog the Chiefs into being one of those NFL lore blue blood teams.
Yes.
If we beat the Niners twice in the Super Bowl,
that's
that immediately lost. Yeah, that's 4 of the last 3 Super Bowl appearances, or 3 of the last 4. Yeah, I mean that, and it's funny too the way Marcus was saying the way he thinks that game goes, being a field goal fest, defense fest. It's funny that we hear that and be like, oh, that kind of works in the Chiefs' favor. All the last few years, it's like, oh, we need a shootout. These teams are going to have to chase points. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, defense, Bucker, Chiefs are winning that game. You know what I mean? It's like, it's
just
funny.
Last season.
It's funny how the pendulum has swung farther back the other way.
But Marcus is right. That does bode beautifully for the Chiefs. If somebody told me, hey, the Chiefs are going to be in the Super Bowl against the 49ers, and like Marcus said, the score's going to be 21-17, who wins? I go, oh, Chiefs.
Right.
Chiefs win that game.
Right.
Chiefs win that game. But they told me it's 31-20. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Chiefs got whooped.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see it. But Marcus, we've taken up a lot of your time here.
Who do you guys have? I know you made your preseason picks a long time ago, but who do you have right now?
Well, my picks look they look pretty bad right now. I had the Chiefs obviously in the Super Bowl, but I had them facing the Seahawks, who is a playoff team. I had them being one of those surprise dark horse teams. I went really for a heavy swing on that one. Trevor, who were yours?
Well, mine could definitely still happen. Mine was the Cowboys Chiefs.
Okay.
And I had Ravens Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
So, it could definitely happen. But Niners look unstoppable in the NFC.
Are you nervous about Dallas having to travel?
I'm nervous about Dallas in the playoffs in general.
Yeah. That Detroit game was rough, man.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, and maybe I'm mistaken here, but I'm pretty sure if Cowboys win this week, they clinch the division, and then I think they could face the Lions in divisional round. If everything kind of goes the story
juicy.
Of that.
That'd be juicy.
Yeah, man.
Are they a 2 seed?
Yeah. If they win today, or they win this weekend against the Commanders, they would be the 2 seed automatically.
And who they play in the first round then? So they would play the 7th spot. So that would be
the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Who already beat them, by the way.
Yeah. That was a good game. Seahawks won that game.
Seahawks, yeah, I know, but Dallas would get them this time. But.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. All I know is, Marcus, it's gonna be a blast. I think that, like I said, it's as open as it's ever been. It really is, man. I think it's gonna be so unpredictable, or it could just be chalk, like you just said, or it could be Chiefs Niners. Either way, I think that all of our scenarios have a legitimate shot, except mine because I'm an idiot and I picked the Seahawks. But that's something I'm going to be paying attention to. And Marcus, I'm going to text you outside of the show here because I don't want to reveal some stuff yet, but I'm going to tell you a couple takes I have about the postseason that Trevor and I will be talking about on our show next week, but I'm going to fill you in ahead of time. See, Marcus gets the exclusive content here, guys. I apologize, but you're going to have to wait another week. Marcus is going to get it a week ahead. Does that work for you, Marcus?
Yeah, it works. I get the Lance behind the guy, behind the guy, behind the guy.
It's Inception around here, baby. Dude, we really appreciate your time. I love you to death, man. You're one of my best buds.
Love you too, brother.
And you guys have a great show. Please keep kicking ass, bro, because you guys always inspire us. You motivate the hell out of me. The way you guys not only do your show, but your content on social media, it's unmatched in my opinion. I think you guys are the best in the community. And you guys are kicking ass. Keep kicking ass, bro. We believe in you guys. We support you guys 100%. And you taking the time to be with us today, I can't put it into words. I really do appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the love you give us on social media and what you just said. You're a great guy, man. Now we talk about the content creation space. It can be very people are very selective of who they talk to in this space, who they retweet, who they even comment on. So the fact that we've developed this relationship over the last few years, man, it's been really nice, man. Love you, bro.
Let's keep it that way, bro. Love you too, man. We appreciate your time, guys. Go follow Marcus and JD on Chief Concerns. Go hit them up on YouTube. They have a great YouTube presence. They have a great Twitter presence. Jesus, I'm sorry, I'm over here having a stroke. And Marcus and JD are great at interacting. They're very much interactive folks on Twitter, on social media. So go hit them up, guys. You want to follow a show outside of this one, definitely want to go hit them up, man. We appreciate them so much. Marcus, have an awesome day, bro. I will be hitting you up in about an hour or so. Okay, sound good to you?
Yes, sir.
All right,
sir.
brother.
Appreciate
have a great
you guys.
day. Yes, sir. That's our guy Marcus Dash from the Chief Concerns podcast. We appreciate his time. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. I could sit here and have Marcus on the show every damn week. He's one of the best dudes around. That's genuinely who he is on and off the camera. A lot of dudes out here like to play pretend and then they turn it off when it's no longer convenient. But he's one of the real dudes. Him and JD are great guys.
Absolutely.
Love those guys to death. And so go check out their shows. They have episodes all the time. I believe Thursdays is when they air live. Regardless, go to their YouTube channel, hit notifications, so whenever they do go live, you'll get notified. But Trev, we've been making the people wait long enough, man. It's time for Speak It. What are the people saying in the chat?
All right, let's see what we got here. I got some ones saved. First one off the top rope, Noah John Marshall on YouTube. What APY years would you give Dana if he's a $10 million a year guy? Is he a $10 million a year guy? That's 1/3 of Jones. Basically asking, if you were going to pay Mike Dana, what would that look like, and what would it take probably to keep him here? Because that is a guy. I brought this up numerous times the past few weeks that thinking about keeping him if Chris Jones is gone. I would want to hold on to Mike Dana.
I like Mike Dana a lot. He's had an incredible season. Obviously, it's because we both know, Trevor, the contract year is undefeated, so we know that he's going to go out there and do his best to get paid, and he should. That's how it goes, man. And I would love to see Mike Dana stay as a Chief. The problem is I think he's going to get outpriced because we know it's hard to find effective pass rushers in this league. And Mike Dana's been an effective pass rusher, especially this season.
Yeah, man.
And he's hitting that stride of his prime years. He's 26 years old. So he's hitting right in that sweet spot of his career. And I keep hammering this point home. I think that a team like the Bears are going to go after him. Because if Matt Eberflus is going to be their head coach for the foreseeable future, we know that Matt Eberflus is going to want to continue to build off this defense. It's all of a sudden come alive.
Yeah.
And they're young.
The defense has been
and they're cheap.
great.
And so you can go get a veteran that can add to the pass rush that's had a ton of success in Kansas City. Where also, who's their current GM? Ryan Poles. Where did Ryan Poles come from? Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
He was there when the Chiefs drafted Mike Dana. You don't think he knows Mike Dana at a very intimate level of knowing what kind of player he is, what kind of dude he is?
Yeah, it makes
so
sense.
when they're backing up the Brinks truck for somebody and they're going to have to spend on a veteran, and Mike Dana is one of those guys in that category, I think he's going to get outpriced here in Kansas City because I don't think the Chiefs are going to be in a bidding war for a guy that, in my opinion, although he could be very effective elsewhere, is a guy I do think the Chiefs can adequately replace at a much cheaper, younger level. I think the Chiefs can go and draft a guy and be a dude that can get you 5 to 6 sacks next season. Not that Mike Dana is not a good player. I just think that with his effectiveness, his age, and knowing what the market's going to be for a veteran of his magnitude, I think he's probably going to get 10 to 15 million a year, maybe even more. Based on what the Chiefs do with this postseason. If he has a good postseason, it might even be more. I think the further the dollars go up, the less chances he is in Kansas City. I think a team-friendly deal for the Chiefs, if I'm painting a scenario for you guys, is a 3-year deal for $38 million. I think that's like the highest it would go for the Chiefs, and like 28 of that guaranteed. I don't think Mike Dana agrees to that because he's going to get a 3-4 year deal worth $50-60 million from somebody, and I think that's what he's going to end up getting, and I'm going to be happy as hell from him, and he's going to be a guy that I'd like to remember for the foreseeable future because he's a guy that helped the Chiefs get to 2 Super Bowls.
And he's always a guy that performs well in the divisional games.
Yes.
That's when you want your guys to perform the most.
He dominates the Chargers. It's
Absolutely.
insane.
Yeah, now that's what I'm saying. That's how I'm going to remember him, a guy that gets a sack every single time we play the Chargers. It's just lock it up. If you're a better, just take the over half sack for Mike Dana in the Chargers matchup. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of changes are coming for this defense. Obviously, we're going to lose a lot of bodies, but at the same time, there's always guys breaking free in free agency from other teams that are, arguably in the same tier that can kind of be, a lateral move on a cheaper basis. So, I mean, I think I trust Veach at this point to make those kind of moves on the defensive side, and Spags, him and Spags to, mind meld together and find guys that will fit in the system. They've done nothing but find guys that continue at cornerback, DB, defensive lineman. They've continued to find guys. I think Omenahu can take that next step in this system next year as well. So I think, losing some of these linebackers is going to be the biggest question mark for me. How we're going to replace, the Willie Gays and the Tranquils and guys if we don't hold on to either one of them. Those are bigger questions for me.
Just to add to that, I think it's the same way Brett Veach has got those guys.
Sure.
He went and drafted them, and then he went and signed a guy on a quality or a very low team-friendly deal.
Sure.
Those guys will always be out there.
Yeah.
Like Drew Trinkle's awesome, Willie Gay's awesome, but what do I always say,
both
Trevor?
going to get paid, man.
What do I always say about when it comes to whether the Chiefs are going to pay a guy or not?
Yeah.
Is that guy better at his job than Brett Veach? Is Brett Veach better at his job than that guy?
Sure.
If that guy's better at his job than Brett Veach, you sign him. Because Brett Veach is not going to be able to adequately replace him. But if I think Brett Veach is better at his job than that guy, I'm going to give Brett Veach the benefit of the doubt. Let those guys walk or trade them, whatever you got to do, and then go and try to replace them through the draft or free agency.
Sure. Next one. Michael Maldonado,
baby, he's
Maldonado, my guy on YouTube. This team could be, in my opinion, the 2018 Patriots. Both aging tight end, great defense, and a Hall of Fame. Could also see Mahomes putting a game-winning drive in the AFC Championship to win.
Let me say this, because Mike, I hope I can call you Mike.
Mikey.
I am so glad you brought this up, because as I told you guys, I'm going to give Marcus some exclusive behind-the-curtain takes for next week's show. This is something I was going to talk about next week, but I'm going to say it right now. The Chiefs have the chance here to either be the 2018 Patriots or the 2019 Patriots. It's going to be one of the two. If you don't remember, as Mike alluded to, though, in 2018, the Patriots went on the road in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs and won, got to a Super Bowl, had the ugliest Super Bowl in NFL history, or at least in the modern era, and won in a way that no one really expected it to happen. 13-3 against a Rams team that was averaging like 30 points a game that season. That is a legitimate scenario the Chiefs could have in 2024 for this postseason. Another very likely scenario is what the Patriots were the very next season. And it's ironic because that 2019 team for the Patriots was built almost identically to what the 2023 Chiefs are, where they have very little firepower in their offense, a great all-time quarterback, a great all-time head coach, and a great defense. But what happened, Trevor, in that wild card game against the Tennessee Titans in New England? The Patriots took an L. And it was a very frustrating season. In fact, Tom Brady talked about how that was the most frustrating season of his career.
Yeah.
It was his final season in New England. That's why he did what, Trevor? He moved on to greener pastures and went to a team that had not one but two wide receiver ones.
The best roster he ever played with.
Yeah, the Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
With getting Rob Gronkowski out of retirement, Leonard Fournette, an awesome offensive line, and a top 5 defense.
Yep.
Top 8 defense, sorry.
That defense was great, man.
So that's what I'm saying. That is what perpetuated or what catapulted Tom Brady out of his long legacy with the New England Patriots.
Legacy.
The most when it comes to the Chiefs in the postseason are the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
There are legitimate teams in this postseason, Trevor, but I'm telling you right now, if the Chiefs play their game, if they can score 21-plus points and not turn the ball over, they're going to beat anybody. But if they don't score over 21 points and have multiple turnovers in the game, anybody can beat this team. Anybody. And I'm talking about the Colts, I'm talking about the Texans, I'm even talking about the Steelers. They can legitimately beat the Chiefs if the Chiefs don't play their best. And that is why I say it's either 2018 or 2019 Patriots as to what this team will be at the end of this very season.
Time will tell. Next question. Brian Parrott, do we know which starters will play? They can't sit them all with any expectation of a W.
No, we don't know yet. I think by the time the show is over, though, we'll have probably some insight. And I think definitely by the morning, we will know for sure who is and who isn't playing. If I'm a betting man, because Marcus made some good points about Isaiah Pacheco maybe trying to go for his 1,000 yards. If there's really no incentive for him to go after it, I don't see the reason why he goes out there and takes extra hits when he doesn't need to take hits.
He's already been banged up the last few weeks too, man.
If I'm the Chiefs, I sit Pacheco, But everybody else that's kind of in limbo right now, I would be willing to let him play for at least a couple quarters. Like, I think Trevor Duffy's going to play.
I would love to see Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce both hit 1,000 yards.
Yeah, dude, I don't think Rashee's playing. I don't either. I think Kelce will go for his 16 yards.
Yeah.
I do believe that Mike Dana, George Karlaftis, Nick Bolton, I do think those guys will be in the game at some point.
But the fact that Patrick Mahomes could have, I mean, I know he wouldn't have been the one that put them over the top to 1,000 yards, but he has, like we discussed this on the show before, if both those guys get to 1,000 yards this season, with the way this season has been offensively, that's insane. That's insane. To have 2,000-yard receivers in this offense, that's been very, very bad.
And I'm going to put this out there, not that it has anything to do with this question, but I'm going to say this now so I can put this. I'm going to clip this part, Trevor, and I'm going to use it for next season because I'm going to break some news to you guys. I know under a good authority that there is a 0% chance that Travis Kelce's retiring this offseason. I know that there's been some theories and speculation on that. I'm going to put that to bed right now. Yeah. Travis Kelce is not retiring this offseason. And furthermore, he shouldn't. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Travis Kelce is not done being great in the NFL. Travis Kelce is going to, I'm telling you guys right now, mark my freaking words. Once the Chiefs, and we all talked about this in this episode in particular, once the Chiefs overcorrect, Brett Veach overcorrects, goes and gets another stud wide receiver, adds a couple more pieces to the equation to make this offense humming as best they can to as close to the 2018 Chiefs as they possibly can. Once that happens, Travis Kelce is going to have a season next year of 100-plus receptions, of 1,200-plus yards, and 10-plus touchdowns. The only reason why that has not happened again this season is because the Chiefs did not have a single wide receiver that could beat man defense. You saw this is why I talk about Juju Smith-Schuster so much. It's not because he was some all-time great wide receiver. It's not that he was better than Tyreek Hill. It had nothing to do with that. All it meant was that he was a wide receiver that knew how to, first of all, recognize man defense or zone defense, and he would find the soft spots of the zone defense and could beat man defense on a consistent basis. That is why Travis Kelce was able to be great last season, because tight ends, more than any other position in an offense, have to have good pieces around them in order for them to be great. This is why I keep saying, Trevor, why do you guys think that when Tony Gonzalez at 32 years old left Kansas City,
went to Atlanta,
why did he have 6 awesome seasons in Atlanta?
Because he was surrounded by talent. Because
he had 2 wide receiver ones in Roddy White and Julio Jones, and Michael Turner out of the backfield with Matt Ryan throwing him the football. And I believe Kyle Shanahan was their OC for
a great offensive scheme, I was going to say, yeah.
So why do you think that should be any different for Travis Kelce in his mid-30s? Mm-hmm. If you want Travis Kelce, and I said this before the season, and I'll say it again, if you want to stretch out as much of Travis Kelce's prime and whatever's left of his career as much as you can, you got to get him adequate pieces around him to make him great again, guys. That is why, because you're seeing it. And the worst season this offense has had since Patrick Mahomes has been their quarterback, Travis Kelce is still 16 yards away from having his 8th consecutive 1,000-yard season. Imagine if they would have had a Juju or just a solid piece around him. He would have had 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns again.
Right.
So that's what's going to happen. Mark that down. Remember I said this, because in about 8 months from now, when this season starts to ramp up again, we're going to be talking about this offense humming again, and Travis Kelce is going to be that number 1 option again.
I'm looking forward to that. Next question from our guy, James T. Kurt. Houston or Indianapolis?
As far as what?
I think in the matchup.
Oh, who wins that game?
Today.
So Trevor and I already put our predictions out there. Trevor has the Texans winning this game rather comfortably. I think it was, 27-18?
Yep.
I actually have the opposite. Trevor, I'm going to let you have the floor, man, and explain why you think the Texans are going to win this game.
Yeah, I trust the Texans. I think they've been far more consistent. The only time they were inconsistent is when they had a plethora of injuries, including their quarterback, whose stud quarterback is having one of the best rookie seasons of all time. They lost Tank Dell. Tank Dell was their wide receiver 1. He was an absolute stud. That sucks. But they got Dalton Schultz back. They have Nico Collins back. They have both of the running backs in Pierce and Singletary. Singletary, who's been a blessing to them this year. He's been incredible when they need him to make a play. And as much as the Indianapolis defense has been great at takeaways this year, they also give up a lot of points. They've also given up a lot of big plays. And I just think, I know this is two newer, younger NFL coaches who I like a lot, and this division is in good hands with some good coaches here. This is gonna be a fun game, I think. But I think Houston, I think Houston pulls away just because I think the massive difference in talent at quarterback here I think comes to play, and we've seen it time and time again. It does not matter even if Indianapolis has a lead down the stretch and this game's closer than I think it's going to be. My money's still on Stroud to go figure it out and win that game because we've seen him do it against good teams and comeback victories, and that guy's just never out of it. He's already proven that, and as a young rookie in this league, to have that poise and that composure. So I just trust Houston. I think they're the better team. I'm not putting money. I know Steichen is a great coach, but I just don't trust the quarterback play on them, and I just don't trust their defense to hold up against Nico Collins. I think Dalton Schultz has a good game. I think he scores. So you put money on that. I know I did. So yeah, I think this is I think the better team wins here. Just plain and simple. I think that offense has a really good day. I think Houston goes out there and does what they need to do to solidify their playoff spot.
That's all logical. Yeah. Everything you're saying makes total sense.
But if Indianapolis won, I won't be surprised either. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Everything you said, that should be, if you're listening there watching this right now, you should bet the Texans. But see, you know what else hasn't made sense this season? The NFL.
Yeah.
This is a league this year where the most unpredictable losses and wins for certain teams have happened. And for me, like, if I'm gonna have to bet on chaos, this is like the perfect chaos game. Where a team that has a backup quarterback that looks like Billy Ray Cyrus can go in there and take over a game. Look. They
do have a Jonathan Taylor too.
This should be a game though the Texans do win because they have the quarterback advantage. Yeah. But as Trevor just alluded to a second ago, I am so bullish on teams that have not only offensive-minded head coaches, but offensive geniuses.
Yep.
And that is what Shane Steichen is. Yeah. I think he should be a legitimate Coach of the Year candidate for more reasons than one. Because he lost Anthony Richardson, week 5, week 6?
Yeah.
And they've won 6-7 games since then. Like they should be in their position.
Yeah.
But they are. Because this team fights.
Yeah, we were robbed this year, man.
This Colts team fights. And they have skill, and to your point, Trevor, you're right. There have been a few games this season where they've given up a lot of points, but something they do really well is, like you said, they turn the ball over. They're an opportunistic defense. And here's the thing.
But the Texans don't turn the ball over a lot either.
That's it, but here's the thing. I'm making a prediction because Gus Bradley is the DC for the Colts. He is a cover 3 fiend. He loves playing cover 3, and C.J. Stroud obliterates cover 3 defense.
You got to blitz his ass. You got to really get after him.
That's exactly what I think is going to happen.
Sure.
I think the Colts are going to surprise the Texans in this game with a whole different scheme. And that's not very common for DCs to just change up their scheme, but they know what this game means.
Yep.
They have a legit chance of making the playoffs, and for this team to make the playoffs is so unforeseen with what they've had to overcome. I think this team's going to fight, claw, scratch, do whatever they can to squeak out a massive upset, and I actually think this is going to be a higher scoring game. I think that the Colts are going to score 30 points in this game because although the Texans have a good defense with DeMeco Ryans as their head coach, a defensive-minded head coach, we have seen at times where the Texans have slumped a little bit and have allowed teams to stay in games. And with Gardner Minshew's confidence, with those pieces he has on offense, which are legitimate pieces, with Michael Pittman back now off of his concussion protocol.
Alec Pierce becoming alive.
Alec Pierce, two-headed monster out of the backfield with Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
I like this Colts team at home with the crowd being absolutely electric. There's something about that dome, man. I think they find a way to scratch and claw this game by a victory. I think it's going to be a last-second field goal. It's going to be 27-27. Gardner Minshew is going to get them. There's going to be like some pass interference that drives them down the field. It could even be controversial, and it gets them right on like the 32-yard line, and their kicker knocks one down with seconds left, and they win the game. They get themselves in the postseason. But selfishly, just off the record, well, it is on the record, but I'm going to pretend like it's off. I want C.J. Stroud in the playoffs.
Yeah, me too.
I want to see this kid because I think he's special.
Yeah.
I love C.J. Stroud. I was so wrong on him. I didn't think this guy was. I thought he was going to be like a good quarterback in this league, like a Jared Goff, solid, awesome quarterback.
And DeMeco Ryans too, man. I'm a fan.
Yes,
I love DeMeco Ryans.
I love the hire. I love the hire.
Yeah.
But I think C.J. Stroud's going to be a top 5 quarterback in this league.
He's so good, bro.
I really do believe he's going to be one of the elites.
He's got it up here already.
When everybody talks about Justin Herbert and these other guys, I think he's going to be that. I think he's going to be what everybody thought Justin Herbert was going to be. I think he's going to be that dude that legitimately pulls a franchise out of nothingness. Because the Texans and Chargers are kind of like similar franchises. Just kind of nothingness. They've had some good seasons here and there, but they've been very much disappointments. CJ's going to be that guy that rises the Texans up to contention. This could be that season. So to your point, I wouldn't be shocked if the Texans win this game. I just look at it from a matchup standpoint of desperation, home team, Shane Steichen, my belief in him. I think they squeak one out.
Yeah, both arguments are logical, man. Yeah. Both outcomes logically could definitely happen. There's not like a shocking surprise. There's not like a massive dog. Right. This is an even match.
This would be a fun one, I think.
Hell yeah, man! 2 young coaches, two quarterbacks that still have things to prove. Gardner Minshew's still playing for a job, whether he's there next year or he's fighting for another backup position or possibly a starting position somewhere else. Who knows? There's a lot on the line here for both these teams. Obviously, you win and you're in for the most part. So, yeah, man. I just think C.J. Stroud. This is his season to finish strong here. So, next question from our guy James T. Kirk: can we all put to bed the Frank Clark rumors? I would have loved the addition of Clark a month ago, but I watched Seattle and Clark is done.
Yeah, let's put that one to bed.
Yeah, Seattle didn't get him on the field. He was inactive.
There was a time when we knew that the Broncos were releasing Frank that I was like, yeah, the Chiefs are probably going to bring him back. But I told you guys from the beginning where I stood on Frank.
Yeah.
He's washed. It's not a disrespectful. I'm not saying that disrespectfully.
Right.
Frank is one of the best pass rushers in playoff history. He will always get that respect from me. He helped this team win a Super Bowl. I appreciate the fuck out of Frank for what he did with this team. And he actually technically helped win, too.
One of the best sound bites ever. I mean, yes. every game. He was incredible.
But there comes a time when dudes hit walls, and he hit his wall. He made a ton of money in this league. He's, not even 30 years old yet.
He got paid again this offseason.
Yes, but it comes a time where guys just start to lose it, and Frank has shown, you saw him in Seattle, a franchise and a system he used to play in, he can't get on the field.
Yeah.
So all it would be doing, if you're talking about bringing him back to Kansas City, is just to make Chris Jones happy.
Right.
And I like making Chris Jones happy because he's one of the most important pieces on this roster, but that isn't how you build your roster, is just to make a guy happy. If Frank Clark was still an effective player, hell yeah, I'd bring him back. He's not an effective player anymore, guys. There's no point of it.
Yeah, I have no interest. I love my guy, but I have no interest in that. John Harrison, the Steelers are also a good matchup. He brought this up when we were talking about who we'd like to see or whatever. Yeah. The Steelers are also a good matchup. 25th in offense, 27 points scored, 22nd on D. The thing that saved their defense is plus 11 on turnovers. Without those, their defense is worse.
I agree. I think that if I had my druthers here, if I had a choice, I would say the Steelers, but here's the problem.
Yeah.
Our tackles, TJ Watt, Highsmith, Hayward, that scares the shit out of me.
Yep.
So Patrick's going to have to get the ball out quick because TJ Watt can wreck a game.
They're terrible against the run, so I would just say just give the ball. Just feed Pacheco, bro.
But yeah, I would say that if I'm making my rankings right now of the teams I want to see the Chiefs play in the wild card, it's the Colts first. I'd rather the Colts come to Kansas City. That'd be the team I'd want to face the most. Because of the fact that although I give them praise for this game in particular against the Texans, they're a fighting team, I want to face Gardner Minshew.
The Colts just, man, you know what it is with the Colts.
I know.
Just get the yips.
I feel like the Chiefs took care of business in 2018.
Sure.
They beat the shit out of Andrew Luck. That was his last game of his career.
Broke the curse, yeah.
I think I like that matchup. Those two. To your point, Trevor, their defense, although is optimistic, a very opportunistic defense, they're not good at stopping teams that can run the ball. So I think that's something the Chiefs could do against that matchup. Is I think they would play really. I don't want to face C.J. Stroud. I'll say that right now. That's one of the last teams I'd want to face.
Yeah, you got to be honest with yourself. The kid's good, man.
I would say the Colts.
Give me Gardner Minshew for sure.
Colts, then the Steelers, then the Dolphins, Bills, and then Texans. The Texans are like that last team I'd rather face because C.J.
The Browns, man, the Browns kind of scare me too. I'm not gonna lie to you. Flacco's been balling, and that defense is fucking frightening, bro.
Wait till next week.
I'm just saying the Browns, I think, are being slept on a little too much.
But we can't face them in the first round.
No. Yeah, I'm just saying as far as the AFC playoff picture, they're getting talked about the least, and I think they might have the coach of the year.
Just wait till next week.
I'm just saying, Flacco's. I love that guy. And then John followed that up with another comment. For info, as bad as we think Chiefs offense is, they're 9th and 12th in points. They're 2nd in D and 3rd points in points allowed. It's the turnovers that have hurt them. Minus 11. Don't turn it over or be even in turnover ratio. They can beat anyone. Facts.
That is a fact. But like we talked about, John, all throughout the season, there's a common theme in every single game outside of the Bears and Chargers game. The Chiefs do what you say they shouldn't be doing, or if you just don't do that, but they keep doing it. So you can sit here and look at the numbers and say, oh, well, the offense isn't as bad as they look. Guys, you have to equate what they've been doing all season.
Yeah,
you can't sit here and go, well, if they just clean it up. No, this team doesn't clean it up.
Been consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, so you have to bring that in the gumbo. You have to put that ingredient in the gumbo because it's a part of who they are. This is why I told you guys, I think I mentioned it last week on the show, when it came to the team with Tyreek Hill, you didn't worry so much about the turnovers. And the turnovers have always been there.
They're going to happen in
the Chiefs have turnovers every single season. They're a turnover team.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter as much because you could always overcome it by scoring 35 points.
Yeah, we could flip a field in one play with Tyreek Hill, man.
Yeah. I mean, how many times did you see the Chiefs win games when they had 3-4 turnovers? Several times.
Right.
Why do you think they were able to always
And
overcome
drops.
10-point deficits? Because they could just go on these runs. This offense isn't built for that. This offense is very methodical, very limited. So the turnovers haven't all of a sudden become a thing. They've always been there. They've just now been more exposed because you don't have the offense that overcomes them. That's why we have to talk about it more. So I get what John's saying about the stats. The stats are fine. But this team isn't built upon stats. It's built upon, do they do what they're supposed to do? Do they clean it up?
Yeah.
No and no. That's why I'm legitimately worried about this team making a Super Bowl run or not.
Yep. Brian Parrott, if we are making a playoff run, why aren't we picking up guys like Sue cheap?
Because Sue's not a football player anymore. Yeah. What makes us think that Ndamukong Suh still got it? Furthermore, he's like 36, 37 years old. Do we really believe he's going to come in here and become an effective piece when he hasn't been playing for almost 2 years now, if I'm not mistaken? He didn't play much of last season. I think he played a little bit, but what I'm saying is I think he's just not a name now that people just throw around there because he's an idea. If they were going to pick up anybody, I would want it to be on the offensive side.
I mean, Carlos Dunlap's still out there. Somebody like that, I'd much
rather have Carlos Dunlap.
Sure.
I'd much rather have a guy like that that's actually been in this system, first of all. But I don't think the defense is going to be what they add to. I think they're going to try to get another weapon if they're going to add anything, and that's where I'd like to see Zach Ertz come to Kansas City. I don't know if he's washed. Maybe he is. No one's picked him up, but I think it's more so of the fact that him and his agent want him to be added by a contender. That's why James Cook went to the Ravens.
Sure.
I think that Zach Ertz could be that extra piece the Chiefs could maybe bring in and just run those little dig routes, extra blocking, because he's actually a really good blocking tight end too. If they're going to add anything, I'd want it to be on the offensive side.
Yeah, I agree. John Harrison again. I'd force MVS to play tomorrow. Throw him 15 plus passes. He either gets it out of his system or he drops 10 and shows you not to play him at all.
I remember I said I want this to be a feel-good game. The idea of throwing MVS the ball a lot just doesn't make me feel good. So I agree with what you're saying as far as like the idea of it all, about how that can maybe help him out. I don't think there's any helping this man out. I think he is who he is, and he's always been. You got to think, he has been one of those few wide receivers in the history of the NFL that has managed to have 2 of the 5 greatest quarterbacks to ever play be his quarterback and still suck. Like, name me another receiver in the history of the NFL that's played with 2 guys like Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes and never having a season close to 1,000 yards, has never had a season of more than 3 touchdowns, or 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's insane to think about. You had Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes in their primes, and you still suck. No, man. For me, I stand by what I said earlier. I think that if the Chiefs are serious about making a run for the Super Bowl, they don't play MVS. He's not good. In fact, he's terrible. Well, and he's sitting here now trying to show up our quarterback in Kansas. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, he's going to play.
I know. I'm just reacting to what John's saying.
And I agree with John. Like, that's what I was saying at the beginning of this show. Like, as much as we don't like this guy, as much as he's been a nuisance, as much as he's been annoying to deal with in the post-game pressers and whatever, the sound bites, the lack of integrity on his end and accountability on his end, we need him to be good. We need him to catch a ball because he's gonna have some targets in the postseason. So I do agree with John here. I think we should keep him out there and get him some momentum, get him some reps, get him some catches, get him a touchdown, maybe get him juiced up. Because as much as we don't like the guy, we're going to need him to make some plays in the postseason, most likely. Getting him on the same page in this offense and getting him rolling, I think, is a good thing. It can't be a bad thing. That can only be a good thing. So I'm with the things that are only positives for this offense. So I think getting him out there.
Real quick, Trev.
Yeah.
To respond to that, because
sure.
If we're going to sit here and talk about how they got to get Marquez going,
we don't have to. I just think it'd be a good thing.
That'd be a good thing. Okay.
Sure.
The one good game he had all season was on October 22nd against the Chargers. He had 3 catches for 3 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
You know what he did the next 3 weeks? 2 catches for 18 yards, 0 touchdowns.
Yep.
So he is what he is. I don't care if he has a Torrey Holt game against the Chargers where he goes 3 catches for 128 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Sure.
That doesn't change anything going into the postseason because he's a veteran. If we're talking about Justin Ross, we're talking about Rashee Rice having big games, that can up the ante. We could talk about Kadarius Toney even too. He's only in year 3. This is Marquez's 7th, 8th season in the league. You are what you are, man.
Yeah.
So for me, he's a lost cause. If Andy Reid is serious about winning a Super Bowl, don't play this dude. He sucks.
Well, he's a lost cause, but he's one of the few guys in this tight rotation that we've narrowed down to, unfortunately.
And I don't get why he's even in the rotation.
I get it, man. I don't get it either, but, I mean, Justin Watson, I'd rather Justin Watson get all his reps in the postseason.
And he's not even that good either. He's reliable. He can actually catch a damn pass.
And he's a better deep threat.
Yeah.
He catches the damn ball. John Harrison, once again, Chiefs have only given up over 20 points, as you alluded to earlier in the show, given up 20 points 3 times. Baltimore and San Francisco have given up over 25 times each. Cleveland 9 times. They'll only give up 17 and 20 in 2 playoff games last year, and they are better now.
Yeah, why do you think I've always said, and I've maintained what I said, Trevor, the Chiefs still have the best defense in the AFC. I get that the Ravens and Browns look more dominant at times because I think they have
more takeaways and such.
Yeah, exactly. They make like these impact plays.
Yeah.
But as an overall unit, I would take the Chiefs over anybody.
Yeah,
I mean that.
Points allowed is what matters the most.
Yes.
You can get turnovers all you want, and you can blow a team out all you want.
The Browns, a scary-ass defense, have given up over 20 points 9 times this season.
Yeah.
The Ravens, 5 times. The Niners, 5 times.
I will say some of those games, I've watched some of those Brown games, some of those were like pick sixes from some terrible quarterback play, and some points allowed weren't really on the defense. There were some special teams scores against them and stuff, too.
Did we not see the Colts go in there and pulverize that defense? Gardner Minshew?
Right, had 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he looked like Aaron Rodgers in that game. That's what I'm saying, dude.
That was crazy.
They've been had. The Chiefs' defense has not been had this season, even against the Packers.
For a season and a half, they haven't been had.
Exactly. And the Packers game, there were like 2 key plays the whole game. Outside of that, they were moving the ball here and there. They weren't scoring a ton of points. They had 2 big plays that got big touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I trust our defense over anyone.
Yes.
In the league to hold a team under 20.
Yes.
Because it's statistically factual.
Yeah, if you can build a roster right now for the playoffs, whose offense you taking, whose defense you taking. I am taking the Chiefs defense.
Yeah, no doubt. I get it. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you and John. It's all facts, man. Our guy Shaggy Shane in the chat on YouTube. If you are Nagy tomorrow, what of these 3 specifics? You can only pick one. 1, reps for Justin Ross. 2, get MVS's confidence for the playoffs. 3, get Travis Kelce his 16 yards receiving.
Oh, specific. The first things first. You got to get Travis Kelce 16 yards.
Yeah.
Get him his 16 yards. Get the hell out of the game. The second one is clearly Justin Ross.
I think that's Shaggy's choice.
Yes, and I'm okay with that. If he puts that over Travis Kelce, that's fine. I think that Travis Kelce, just due to the respect of what he is to this franchise, what he is for the historics of the NFL, I think that's a big thing in a game that doesn't really matter.
He'd be the 4th guy in history to have done it.
And he's only, what is it? I think he's already got the receptions total, but he's one of 4 players ever to have 8 seasons of at least 95 catches, 90 catches. It's like him, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and I forget the other guy, but there's 4 players.
He's the only tight end.
Yeah. Tony Gonzalez never did it.
Insane.
Yeah, so my point is, I think from an historic standpoint, I want to see them value that. I want to see them prioritize that, get him a 16 yards, and then let him go sit, and then he'll be on the sidelines, rah-rah on the guys. Sure. But Ross, I definitely want to see him be getting there's no reason in the world why when the 4th quarter is over, we don't see we don't see Justin Ross get at least 8 to 10 targets. There's no reason. Get him 8 to 10 targets. What he does with those targets, we'll find out. But I want to see him get chances. Let him go out there and show us what he can do, because it isn't just for the postseason moving forward. It's about next season. Is Justin Ross going to be a guy that is even around? Because if he doesn't have any meaning in this game, Trevor, what game is he ever going to have meaning in? This is a meaningless game, essentially.
Right.
So go out there, no pressure, just go showcase some talent. Have Blaine Gabbert give him, that has to be in the game plan this week. Feed the guys that we're still trying to figure out if they're even going to be in this, what you called, this narrowed down room of people. Is he going to be in the circle of trust, as Robert De Niro said, Meet the Parents? Are you going to be that? Are you going to be in there or not? I want to see Justin Ross get his chances, man. I think that needs to be in there. The MVS one, I don't even consider. I've already said it. I'm not going to repeat myself.
Yeah.
If he's on the sideline for the rest of the season, I'm gonna try to do a backflip. I'll end up being Christopher Reeve after, but I'll definitely give it a whirl. But I don't want to see MVS at all.
Yeah, for sure. It's Kelce for sure, number 1, and then second would obviously be Justin Ross. I mean, we want to see what the kid can even do. We haven't got him enough involved. And the MVS thing, as far as your point, Shaggy, I don't think it's ever been a confidence thing with MVS. This is just a pure lack of skill. This has been his whole career. I think the guy's very confident. He's very confident in his ignorance, for sure.
He's overconfident.
I mean, he's out there trying to correct Patrick Mahomes. That's an ignorantly confident guy. Maybe a little bit delusional, if you ask me.
Right.
So I think he's very confident. You know what I mean? So
I don't know what you're
what
you're referring to.
He's very confident in himself.
I have no idea what you're referring to. I have 300 fucking yards in 16 games. I have no idea.
It's more about him getting some momentum, for Christ's sake. Can we have some of that? Can we have some consistency? It's not a lack of confidence. This guy, like I said, is a delusionally confident guy, and the lack of skill he's portrayed in his entire career. Right? So that's last on my list. But yeah, Kelsey's going to get his. I'm very confident in that. And I would love to see Justin Ross go out there and get 100 yards and a touchdown. It'd be really cool to see him just get fed. So yeah, that's mine for sure. Next one is from 𝚂𝙿𝙸𝚂𝙾𝙳𝙴 on YouTube. What Chiefs wide receivers would you keep for next season if you could cut or keep anyone?
Based on the fact that I have no idea who's going to be added to it, I think there's going to be. I will go on the record and say I do believe there will be 2 veterans that will be added to this room next season. I do believe that it's going to be one big time name, and there's going to be one guy that's just like a good solid piece. There's always value to that. I do believe the Chiefs will be drafting a wide receiver. That will happen, like Marcus said. I think the second, third round is a good time to do that. This is a heavy wide receiver draft, by the way. I might add heavy tight end, heavy tackle draft. I might add as well. This is a very offensive draft, and that's perfect timing for the Chiefs because I think they're going to get more offensive players in this draft than defensive players for the first time in 3 years.
Tight end for sure.
Yeah, I definitely. You know me on that.
Yeah.
I do think that tackle is where they're going to go first in the draft. That's where I stand right now.
Yeah,
I think that they show that Wanye is probably not going to be the long-term answer there. But I do think if I made my prediction right now as to who I'm just like without question will be here is Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice, that's it. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think Justin Watson will probably be back, though. I do think he's probably back with some kind of contract. He's just kind of like one of those guys I think that Pat trusts and keep him around. I think maybe they find a way to keep McCole here as well. Who knows? Honestly, this is all a crapshoot outside of Rashee Rice. This wide receiver room is an absolute crapshoot. I think they find a way to keep Justin Ross around because I think they like him as an experiment and they like his intangibles. If he can keep his head on straight and keep himself out of trouble, I think he could be an absolute weapon for this offense. But yeah, it's going to be a complete overhaul of that room. I mean, it was an absolute embarrassment this year. We can't be embarrassed again, and I think Veach knows that. And I think he will. We've seen him overcorrect numerous positions on this team before, and it's worked out in our favor. So I expect that. Next question from 𝚂𝙿𝙸𝚂𝙾𝙳𝙴. What do you think of the Super Bowl logos featuring the colors of the 2 Super Bowl teams so the NFL looks rigged?
I don't know. Go ask Aaron Rodgers. He seems to be full of information.
Well, all you got to do to debunk this is just look at the one previous to the one that fit the narrative.
Dude,
okay, where does the narrative start and stop? Is it just the last? The NFL just wanted to be cute the last few seasons.
I'm gonna be totally candid with you guys. I think what happened is when COVID hit and we all got locked down, I think people went nuts.
Conspiracies have always been a thing, man.
No, it has, but I think people really started to lean into them more because we got bored.
Sure.
We got bored, man.
Well, we started questioning the government a lot, too, and the things,
we
the
haven't gotten
conspiracies.
back. And that's fine. If you want to question the government for the record, that's
fine. Of course.
We have the right to do that. I'm saying...
Any authoritative entity.
Some of these things we're buying into now, like I was seeing the people talk about the Miami shooting at the mall. People are saying there were 12-foot aliens running around. Like, guys, at some point you got to get back to reality. We got to be grown-ups here. I like X-Files, but it was a TV show. Okay, let's get back to reality a little bit. I think that, yes, I know the colors are what they are, but when the Ravens lose in the divisional round, come back and talk to me because that's what's going to happen. And then we'll try to get Aaron Rodgers on the show, and maybe he'll tell us more about that.
No, it's simple. You can just logically defeat that whole narrative by looking at the Super Bowls previous to those logos.
Trevor, don't do that.
We're only counting the hits and ignoring the misses. We've had 50, 60 plus years of Super Bowl logos, and now we're just picking the ones that happen to fall into a coincidence. Can we please stop? Like
Isn't that called confirmation bias?
Yes, man. Yes. Honestly, I love my guy Aaron Rodgers, but this kind of stuff, I think he's just placating on it. Honestly, if I'm being real, I think he's just having fun with this stuff.
Or maybe he's legit.
I do think no. I do think he is kind of an out there kind of guy. He tries to like outsmart himself for sure. He tries to be like this pompous intellectual sometimes, and I do think he's a smart guy. But sometimes you outsmart yourself by being like this odd, mysterious kind of guy a little too much, and he makes himself look like an ass sometimes. And this is just one of those things. He's just adding to adding fuel to the fire for this kind of conspiracy kind of stuff. Just go look at the logos previous before these ones started falling in line with the color scheme, guys. I mean, it wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't a conspiracy then. Now it's all of a sudden a conspiracy because we've had a few in a row that happen to match the colors of the teams. Can we please stop? The Chiefs were a field goal away from being in that Super Bowl, and it wouldn't have mattered. Just in that Bengals Super Bowl. So can we just stop? Next one, James T. Kirk. Everybody keeps thinking L'Jarius Sneed will demand $20 million. I disagree. I think the penalties and the lack of Pro Bowls will bring Sneed's stock down. What do you two think?
Well, I had a take lined up ready to go today, but I felt that it wasn't the right time to put it out there because we have other things to talk about today, which I think was the right decision.
He was snubbed either way, though.
What I will say, yeah, without question, L'Jarius Sneed was snubbed from the Pro Bowl. He better be an All-Pro, though, because that's actually what matters when it comes to contracts.
Jalen Ramsey was not
when
better
it comes to
than this
legacies.
year.
When it comes to legacies, All-Pros are what going to get you in the Hall of Fame.
He better be All-Pro this year.
But when it comes to his contracts, guys, we're going to be talking about this a lot this offseason, and I'm going to start it up by next week. Listen, you might be right that L'Jarius Sneed may not demand $20 million a year, but L'Jarius Sneed might have that in the market. You have to understand, guys, that players like him, a lot of teams out, and I've explained this before about the Charvarius Ward. He would have never got the contract he got in San Francisco if he was still in Kansas City. And why is that? Well, two reasons. One, the Chiefs have not only a great quarterback, they have an expensively great quarterback. So that changes things on how you build your roster. The 49ers have Brock Purdy, who's on a rookie deal, and he's not a great quarterback. So your team can not only afford to go and spend at other positions, your team has to spend at other positions in order for them to be great. So Charvarius Ward was a prime candidate to go and max out with a team that's more cornerback reliant than quarterback reliant, if that makes sense. So the Chiefs, when it comes to L'Jarius Sneed, if he has a market that's going to demand him to get excessive amounts of dollars every single year, you better believe it won't be in Kansas City where L'Jarius Sneed continues his career, because it's not going to happen. I've been explaining this to you guys time and time again about how Brett Veach, I slander the shit out of him when it comes to what he did with this wide receiver room, and it's all valid no matter who. He could be sitting across from me right now and be saying this.
Yeah.
But one thing that Brett has done that I will defend him on is he has drafted his ass off at cornerback. And you see the way he drafted over these last 2 years. 5 cornerbacks. He traded up for Trent McDuffie in the first round. That was with L'Jarius Sneed here, and he was eligible for an extension at the time. So that should tell you, if the Chiefs weren't going to spend money on L'Jarius Sneed when he was much cheaper and younger, why would they do it now? So I'm telling you guys now, get prepared. L'Jarius is about to make some money.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be in Kansas City. I know it sounds nuts because of how great he's been, but that actually is a testament to what the Chiefs have done, because to that point, L'Jarius was a flyer pick in 2020. He was a 4th-round pick out of Mississippi. Nobody knew who he was. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you are. Outside of guys that just consume draft content and go out there and analyze it, nobody knew who L'Jarius Sneed was. Now he's one of the best, if not the best corner in the league.
Yeah.
What's to say that Brett Veach can't go and find that guy again? What's to say, Trevor, that guy's not already on the team?
Yeah. I was going to say, Shamari Connor's looming in the mist. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? And you know me, I'm team pay, don't pay corners. You know what I mean? It's just a bad formula, especially for a team that has dynastic aspirations. You know, you don't overpay for volatile positions.
Right.
You don't overpay for running backs. You don't overpay for cornerbacks or even linebackers at this point in the way the NFL is built.
Trevor,
right?
real quick, Stephon Gilmore won Defensive Player of the Year with the Patriots. What'd they do?
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You don't want your best defensive player to be a cornerback on your football team. That's just you got to get after the quarterback, and that's what, honestly, if we're being real, and you've made this statement numerous times, I've made this statement numerous times, Chris Jones is the reason, one of the main reasons that L'Jarius Sneed is having a good a season as he is, and schematic reasons. Spags has been ridiculously you saw it against Jamar Chase when we shut his ass down just again recently. The way we were scheming him out of that game is just, it's unreal. Right, and I'm not taking anything away from L'Jarius Sneed. He's having an absolute all-pro year, 100%. I hope he gets paid for his family's sake, for generational wealth's sake.
I think he's the most underrated player in the league.
The fact that he got snubbed for the Pro Bowl is it's nuts. I mean, Jalen Ramsey was not better than him this year. Jalen Ramsey has the name. I get it. He plays for the bigger team in the bigger market. I get it. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me, man. If he doesn't get it all-pro this year, that's terrible. But yeah, I think he's going to get paid. I do think he's going to get somewhere around the $20 million mark. I think that's the going rate for the top corners in this league. And he's been better than a lot of those guys, if not all of them this season. So I fully expect him to get paid by someone else, not the Chiefs, because we pay him that. I have a problem with that.
I'll give you guys a little peek into my take that I'm gonna give you guys about a week's time, real quick, because I think this is gonna be a hard hitting topic, just like it was last season, but for Chris Jones. This is gonna be for 𝙂𝙸𝙀 Snead. If I'm the Chiefs this offseason, I tag and trade 𝙂𝙸𝙀 Snead. I say, look, we're gonna tag you, we're gonna put this on you. And we're going to go out there and find you a suitor. You can go and try to find a team that you want to play for.
Panthers, a team like that would definitely be.
Yeah, there's going to be teams out there that are going to need a top-tier cornerback that have cap, that maybe don't have that or they have a really good quarterback, but he's on a rookie deal.
Or the Texans, a team that, has a rookie quarterback.
I'm telling you, there's going to be several teams out
Ryans
there.
will go nuts with 𝙂𝙸𝙀 Snead, There's
going to be several teams out there that are going to be looking to add to a guy like that. And I think that's what's going to happen, man. You're going to see, and I'm going to be happy as hell for 𝙂𝙸𝙀 Snead. And quite frankly, I'll be happy for the Chiefs, too, because to your point, Trevor, I'm also on team, and I was one of the guys that started this in the Brett Veach era that said, do not pay corners. They're not going to pay corners. I'm on that team as well.
Well, because we have a large sample size.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know we get attached to players here in Kansas City, guys, because we love our team.
Sure.
It's Kansas City. It's one of those true fan bases that love their team through and through. But you can't get too connected to players like 𝙂𝙸𝙀 Snead because you do know the shelf life for them is not realistically long-term in Kansas City because, like you said, Trev, you're trying to build a dynastic team, an era of dominance.
Right.
You're going to have to be willing to be cutthroat. You have to be cutthroat, man.
Yeah.
That's why the Frank Clark move was unpopular. That's why the 𝙂𝙸𝙀 Snead thing's going to be unpopular. There's been a lot of unpopular moves. People loved Honey Badger, but they had to make those moves, and once they did, you realized why. Mm-hmm. And I'll give Brett Veach that credit, man. He's done well and being a little more cutthroat than previous GMs of Chiefs history.
Well, yeah, and it's strictly business budgeting. You gotta have there's trade-offs in every move you make, and you got to invest a little heavier in other positions, and you got to, take your foot off the pedal in certain positions. And I trust Brett Veach, especially with the way he's built defenses and he's rotated guys at certain positions and found skill players at those positions. I mean, when we won a Super Bowl, with the Jalen Watsons and the Joshua Williams is basically our top two corners at times when 𝙂𝙸𝙀 was in and out with the injuries and stuff like that. So, Yeah, I mean, I trust us to move on. It will suck to not see him out there on the field, moving forward, most likely. But I think winning will make us forget pretty quickly if we, build a better offense and start, Jamari Conner maybe takes that next step and Trent McDuffie takes that next step. We'll quickly not forget about 𝙂𝙀𝙀 Snead, but we'll forget about the idea that we were scared of losing him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's it, man. That's it for the questions.
Awesome, guys. We appreciate it. It was a great time. We do this every single week. If you've not joined us already, guys, hit us up on YouTube. Get on the Spoken Podcast. Hit subscribe, like, notify, all that stuff. But get in the comments. We want to hear from you. We challenge you guys at this point to get in there because we want to get as many people's comments, questions, takes, concerns in as possible on each and every episode. And the time keeps going, so you guys can comment on this video even when we're done with the live stream. We will try to get back to you guys as fast as we possibly can and give you guys our authentic take on everything. Trevor, we have one more order of business to get to. What is it called?
Hold this L.
Each and every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who is ever holding those L's for us in the world of sports, deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor 𝚂𝙀, who's holding the L for you this week?
So I'm just going to go ahead and start reading this article real quick as it goes. The headline is as such, NFL owners have their own conduct policy. Almost anything goes. You know the guy who throws the drink. He's the guy who screams so loud and bites the hot dog fly out of his mouth. The one who terrorizes his seat section like a soft Napoleon with his outthrust Bonaparte chin and a chest that has started to landslide into a belly. When an NFL owner acts like the worst lout in an arena of 70,000, when he throws a drink on a ticket buyer like a feudal lord dousing a serf with a bucket of refuse from his castle, what should the penalty be? In the case of the Carolina Panthers, David Tepper, the answer is a fine that amounts to a frippery. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, unhurried by conscience as usual, concluded that fit punishment for Tepper was $300,000, which comes to about 0.00015% of his $20 billion in wealth. This touches off all sorts of fun analytical games, proportionally in his equivalent of about $15 if your net worth is merely $1 million, the cost of 3 McDonald's Happy Meals. This is Dave Tepper. End quote. Quote. I should have let the NFL stadium security handle any issues that arose. End quote. Tepper said. in an utterly unrepentant statement after he was caught on camera hurling the iced drink toward a fan out of the window of his luxury suite. Quote, "I respect the NFL's code of conduct and accept the league's discipline for my behavior," end quote. I don't know if you guys saw the footage. I mean, it's been all over the interwebs of Dave Tepper, and this isn't the first issue this guy's had. I mean, this guy's been, and he's one of the few like real hands-on owners that likes to have a choice in the matter of a lot of things, that internal moves and coaching and all these things. It's been nothing but a mess since he's made a lot of these choices. He's made terrible choices. He's ruined the careers, and not ruined the careers, but ruined possible good things for his own team. Has let good talent walk out the door at coaching and position players. This guy is just an absolute nuisance as an owner, and it's honestly embarrassing. We've seen some. Jerry Jones has had his moments, obviously, but Jerry Jones has actually put together some good teams, and he's had success.
Jerry Jones is not toxic.
At times, yes. Jerry Jones is actually an entertaining guy, and it seems to be a decently good person from what we know. Right. Yeah. And the Cowboys fans actually love him.
Yes.
Panthers fans cannot stand this douchebag. He's throwing iced drinks on his own fans. I mean, outside of this guy being worth billions and having the power because of his wealth, anybody else loses their job. Anybody else gets thrown out of this game. It's the double standard here that we have to deal with. And the fact, that's just, I mean, as a Chiefs fan, I just sit there and I'm thankful for the position I'm in, because I could not imagine seeing my owner throwing drinks on people in his own game.
How embarrassing that!
Getting your ass kicked on top of it, fans are pissed, and then you're going to get a drink thrown on you by your owner? That is the most insulting thing as a fan you could go through, let alone getting your cheeks clapped, and then for paying for an expensive ticket to go watch a team get destroyed, and then having your owner dump a drink on you. It's just, I don't know. I don't know who else is. I don't think anybody's above him who can make a move, who can decide. Now they're talking about the GM is possibly in the hot seat. Most likely he's going to lose his job. It sounds like the scapegoat to me. Who knows who their coach is going to be moving forward? They whiffed on the first round pick and Bryce Young. So many things. I mean, being a Carolina fan is rough. You no longer have Christian McCaffrey to cheer for, who was the golden boy for years over there. You don't even have that anymore. You had the number one pick and you chose the wrong quarterback. You have the worst possible owner in football right now. It's a mess, man. So Dave Tepper is the culprit here today. So I'm gonna have Mr. Tepper do me a solid here and hold this L.
I like receipts a lot. What's weird is when I go to a store or if I go to a restaurant, I don't actually like receipts. But you know where I do like receipts?
Don't touch them.
In the sports world. I really, really like holding on to receipts. And I remember back in, I believe it was June of this year, we had a really cute clip put out there. And there was a question raised in this clip that really, really fired things off. And I remember specifically saving this clip because I knew how much that was going to backfire. Trevor, if you'd be so kind, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Asked about the number one player in the NFL, with very little hesitation, you said
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Everybody knows that, yeah. That's easy. MVP.
He said Pat.
Who said Pat?
Joe.
Pat who?
Pat who? Let me think real quick, Trevor. Pat Mahomes, who just ended your season twice in a calendar year, biatch. That's who. Patrick freaking Mahomes is our guy, Shaggy Shane likes to say. Jamar Chase, I really enjoy you. Man, you're actually one of the most skilled receivers I've ever seen play this game. You're well on your way to the Hall of Fame. But, dude, you're also in the Hall of Fame of the Spoken Podcast because today, on the 250th episode, you get to do me a solid and hold this L, bitch! Woo! Pat who? That's who. Twice in one calendar year.
You could have given him an L. You could have given him an L for talking about L'Jarius Sneed not wanting to fight him. That shit was hilarious.
That's just icing. That's just cherries on top.
Bro, how immature is that shit?
He is going to be, because a player that skilled and that awesome, being the downfall of a franchise is something that doesn't happen very often. He is going to be that guy. Because it isn't just how expensive he's about to be, and it's going to be why they don't keep T. Higgins this offseason, or their left tackle they're talking about, or the right tackle, whoever it is on their offensive line that's up for a contract.
Yeah.
It's not just that. It's the fact that he does shit like this, where he ignites opponents with this kind of material, these types of receipts, and then says shit like that after games. You think that's unifying his team?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I love him. Thank you, Jamar. Thank you so much for this receipt that I held on to for over 6 months. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to use it, and it was such a beautiful thing that it all lined up perfectly. The Chiefs were who ended the Bengals season.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, since the Burrowhead comment, they've been knocked out of the playoffs and then missed the playoffs.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much. And ironically, Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes' trainer, Bobby Stroop, literally said those words on that tweet that day. Thank you. Because he knew what was coming.
Yeah.
It's poetic justice.
It never works out. Teams need to learn.
Like our guy Nick Wright says, bulletin board material. And he has that little thing he puts over there with faces on it. You literally handed the Chiefs this.
I mean, keep it up, bro.
Oh, thank you. No, please keep it going.
Yeah.
I appreciate Jamar Chase so much. It was the perfect L for a perfect show.
One of the better players for our team, for sure.
Exactly. Thank you for being a Chief. We love it so much. Your quarterback is a Chiefs fan as a kid, and now you're helping the Chiefs. Oh, thank you, Bengals.
Yeah, who needs a prep talk before the game? I mean, just watch some clips of Jamar. Yeah.
And speaking of a perfect thing, man, this show was so much fun, man. I can say that it feels like we've done this many episodes, but it's also flown by. And it's so weird. Man. It's so weird, too, man, because the way we started, as Trevor, myself, and Eddie Ortiz, in a little house that we had in Kansas City, just recording a podcast. It was all based upon a Facebook page that I made back in 2010, to then getting signed by a network at that time. Everything was looking good, and then COVID hit right in the middle of that. We were going to start doing live streams. We were going to do all this other stuff. Promises broken.
ESPN
whatever.
Was calling.
Yeah, clearly. And a lot of things that we were told were going to happen didn't happen.
Yeah.
Trevor and I, Eddie, all of us had a real pivotal moment where we were like, do we keep this thing, with them, with these folks that are promising this? And we moved off, and it became us again. It became just us doing what we did. But I said, you know what? We're not going to just do podcasting. We're gonna get our own stuff. We're going to invest in this thing, lean into it, put money into this thing, and really add more quality to the show, because we have the skill sets, we have the takes, we have the energy, the vibes, everything is there. We just need to add a little bit more. And so as time has gone on, we're handsome as shit.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Especially over here. My God. But the thing is, man, is that we've always had the core infrastructure. It was always there. We just needed to put some dressing around it. And I hope that you guys enjoy it as much as I do, because I wake up every Saturday morning, and I'm stoked as hell to do this show. The weeks can be long, stressful. Other days can be like that. But every single Saturday that I wake up, dude, I know I get to do this, and it is the most exciting thing of my life. And I mean that. Somebody can say that makes me a loser. I don't give a shit. I love this stuff. I crave having these interactions. I crave talking with you guys. And I love the fact that we've built a community here, and it's been so much fun. But I would not have as much fun as I do. I wouldn't look forward to it if it was just me out here just talking my own brains out. Having Trevor with me, Eddie helped build this thing. We miss him greatly, but he's on to doing his own thing in his own life. Having Clay Windler, Red Stripe Cinema's creator, having him as our producer, I'm telling you right now, we could not do this without Clay. I say that every week, and I mean it every single week. That dude is absolutely a strong piece. He is the glue, the adhesive of all this. I'm just so lucky that I get to come up here and just run my mouth for a couple of hours. It has been a blast. I've been a part of every single episode. I'm proud to say that. I've been a part of all 250 episodes because I don't ever want to miss it. I don't want to miss anything that we can talk about, any memory of what we do. I love this so much, man. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Trevor for being alongside me, because I'm sure there's been weeks he didn't want to do it because he has a busy life. He's got 2 children. He's been sick at times, but he still gets up. He still does this with me, and I can't put a price tag on that. I'm so lucky to have a brother that wants to do this with me. Most people that I know that have siblings hate each other. We don't have that going here. We got a great thing here, and it all starts with the fact that you guys give a shit. And I thank you guys so much. I'm humbled as hell. This isn't about me. It's about everybody else, and we all get to be a community together. So I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for the 250 episodes that we've now completed. Yeah. I am so proud of this. It is a milestone. I don't take it lightly. And I just hope you guys want to be around for the next 250, because we're not stopping this bad boy, man. It's a blast. I don't care how long we got to go, man, to reach the goals we want to go. We're going to keep this thing going, man, until the wheels fall off, and we don't have any plans of those wheels falling off. So again, thanks to Trevor, thanks to Clay.
Well, thank God for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
because
that makes it a lot easier to talk about.
It makes this show a lot better, man.
And again, shout out to Eddie Ortiz, man. I don't want him to be forgotten. That guy. He helped build this.
He's a fundamental piece.
He's a fundamental piece to what we do, and he will never be forgotten for what he's done for this show. And hopefully, one of these days, maybe we can have a reunion show where we can have him on, and we can catch up on where Eddie's been, his travels.
World Cup time, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, that actually be a perfect thing for him to do. But again, guys like Marcus Dash, JD, people like that have made this what it is as well. I don't want anybody to be forgotten, man. Yeah. Shaggy Shane, one of my best friends, a great dude to us. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it, Trevor, Starcade Media giving us a shot. Meeting with Clint and Noah for the first time, like just hanging out together, getting to know the guys. I appreciate what they've done, and they've given us the platform. They've given us their platforms to host our shows on. Hooking Trevor up this last weekend, man, for little Christmas gifts.
Yeah, man. Much appreciated.
We really, Noah, Clint, thank you guys so much for what you guys do for us, man, and allowing us to be who we are and not try to control any of our creativity. You just let us be us, and you give us the reins. You say, all right, you guys run with it. It feels good to be a part of a community in a network like that. And everybody that's helped us along the way and continues to help us, I can't thank you guys enough. We joke around, we fuck around on the show a lot, but every single show, I'm thankful for what you guys do sincerely from the bottom of my heart. So thank you guys so much. This has been my passion project for over 12 years now, 13 years now. And to see it go where it's going, it's definitely something that I get emotional about every once in a while. But I'm not doing that now, because we don't need to be emotional.
Not gonna cry.
We need to get ramped up and ready to go for the postseason. I hope you guys are excited for that. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on YouTube as well, guys. We greatly appreciate everybody that wants to be a part of this. So for Trevor Twidwell, for Marcus Dash from the Chief Concerns podcast, and for the great Clay Windler that puts us all together, and for the entire Starcade Media family, I am Lance Twidwell. Episode 250 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And until we're back here in 1 week's time to give you guys our breakdown of what we're going to see with the Chiefs and whoever the hell they face in the wild card round, we out of this bitch.
Later.